fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Monday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We appreciate you guys joining us today. Appreciate all of you making our day a part of yours. We are jam-packed with a fun show today, talking Padres baseball, and it's a lot better. I know we had the day off yesterday, Padres-wise. It is a lot better when the Padres win a baseball game. Let me tell you, it's just the vibes are a lot better than they were the last couple of days. Although we had a great time at Far Corner, we had a great time meeting you guys multiple times over the weekend. Hey, shout out in the YouTube chat. How about this? Jesus in the YouTube chat. His new profile picture got our T-shirt on there. That's awesome.
There you go.
Love it. Love it, man. We appreciate you guys again making our show so much fun. We had a great time with you guys at Baja Rick's on Thursday. I know we've had a show in between, but also had a great time on Saturday. For everybody that made it out Saturday at Far Corner, had some great pizza out there at Far Corner. It was a great time overall for us in opening weekend, and we're off and rolling. Padres are 1-2 to start the season, but this is where I want to start the show today. I talked about it on Saturday. I don't want to pull the whole right but too early thing. And again, it's only one start. But how about Randy Vásquez, man? How about Randy Vásquez? I want to start the show with Randy Vásquez and what we just watched on Saturday night. I think that changes the entire outlook of the Padres season. I'm serious. I know it's one start. I know it's early. I know we're only a couple of games into 162. But if you were watching that game, if you were paying attention, if you understand what this team needs to be successful this year, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Randy Vásquez didn't just pitch well. He didn't just give you innings. He didn't just keep you in the game. He shoved 6 scoreless innings, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. And most importantly, the guy looked like a completely different pitcher. Let's be honest. Coming into the season, what was the biggest question about this team? Wasn't the lineup, wasn't the bullpen, it was the rotation. It was always the rotation because you're asking a lot from guys like Nick Pivetta. You're counting on Michael King to repeat a career year. You don't know when or what you're going to get from Joe Musgrove coming off of surgery. So what does that mean? It means somebody has to emerge. It means somebody has to take a leap. It means somebody has to go from a back-end guy to we can trust this dude every 5th day. And I said it on Saturday at Far Corner, and I'll say it again right now. Randy Vásquez can be that guy. In fact, I think he can be more than that. I think he pitched himself into being a number 2. And I'm not ruling out even more. Because what you saw on Saturday wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It wasn't he had a good night. That was the result of development, work. That was the result of a guy figuring out who he is as a pitcher. Go back to last year. This is a guy who had one of the lowest strikeout rates in baseball. He didn't miss bats. He pitched to contact. He lived on the edge. And you know what he said? If I'm not going to strike guys out, I'll find another way. And he did. He had a 3.73 ERA. He was grinding. He was competing. He was finding a way. And that matters. That teaches you how to pitch. To quote the late, great Randy Jones, the guy up there fails 70% of the time and he makes it to the Hall of Fame. Let him fail. That tells you something about the makeup that Randy Vásquez has. He understands how to get guys out now. He learned how to pitch without missing bats. He's not one of those, I've always been lucky I've always had better stuff and I could strike guys out. Randy had to learn how to pitch. And not only did he learn how to pitch, that guy grew, his velo has jumped up. It started climbing 93 to 94, 94 to 95, then 96, then 97, then touching 98. Now all of a sudden you've got a completely different pitcher because now hitters can't just sit on contact. Now there's fear. Now there's swing and miss. Now there's upside with this guy. And what did we see Saturday? We saw 8 strikeouts against the legit lineup. Not the Rockies, not a bottom feeder, a real lineup. A real lineup that dominated the Padres the first couple of days, that got the hits late against the bullpen on Friday night, and a lineup that tagged Nick Pivetta on opening day. But here's what I love the most about Randy Vásquez on Saturday. It wasn't just the velocity, it wasn't just the strikeouts, but it was the conviction. He attacked. He wasn't nibbling. He wasn't dancing around the zone. He trusted his stuff. And when you combine that kind of confidence with the kind of velo that he just has acquired during the offseason, and now you throw in a 5-pitch mix, that's when things start to get scary. And let's talk about that mix. Fastball sitting now mid to upper 90s, sinker with life, cutter getting swings and misses, curveball, changeup. The guy's got options. And when you have options as a pitcher, you can get through a lineup multiple times. That was something that you didn't do with Randy Vásquez last year. But now you can adjust. Now you can go out there and dominate. And here's the part nobody talks about enough. This didn't just happen. This is the result of learning, the result of growth, the result of mentorship, because you got to give credit where credit's due. And I saw this not only in Kevin Acey's article about the game, not only in AJ Cassaville's article of the game, but also in Dennis Lynn's article about the game, about Yu Darvish and the impact he had and he has had on Randy Vásquez. That relationship matters. That's not just a veteran talking to a young guy. That's a master teaching a student. That is routine. It is preparation. It is scouting. It is discipline. It is the stuff you don't see on TV. That's what turns talent into production. I mean, you're talking about a situation when Randy Vásquez last year would either text or call Yu Darvish after every outing and after every bullpen session, and they would discuss what he did well, what he did not do well. That is so huge. That is why it's so important to keep Yu Darvish part of this organization in some capacity for moments like that. And here's the reality. The Padres need this. They need Randy Vásquez to be this guy, because if he is, everything changes. And I mean everything. Now your rotation has depth. Now your bullpen isn't overworked. Now your team has balance. Now you're not asking your offense to score 6, 7, 8 runs every night. And I'll even go further. If Randy Vásquez becomes what we saw Saturday, and he could do it consistently, because again, I admitted at the beginning part of this, it's only one game. But if he can do that, this team is better than what the projections think. And I mean way better. Because everyone's looking at the Padres and saying, yeah, they're good, but the rotation, but the questions, but the uncertainty. Well, what if one of those questions becomes an answer? What if one of those ifs becomes a strength? That's how teams surprise people. That's how seasons change. And I'm telling you right now, based on what we saw, based on the velocity, based on the confidence, based on the development, Randy Vásquez is on the verge of that leap. And you know what I love about this the most? He's 27. This isn't a finished product. This is a guy still figuring it out, still developing, still getting better. So yeah, I know it's one start, but it's also a continuation, because if you go back to late last season, he was already trending in this direction. His velocity was starting to go up. His strikeouts started to go up. His confidence, and the most important thing is confidence, started to go up. So this result on Saturday is not a random result. This is not a result that is surprising, I think, to a lot of people that watch Randy pitch in spring training. This is real. That was a real outing for Randy Vásquez. Sure, he might have a setback later in the season. I'll say that now before people want to start calling me out anytime Randy Vásquez has a bad outing. He's still not a finished product. He's still learning how to pitch, but he's shown signs of confidence and signs of excitement, I think, for a lot of Padres fans. And if this continues, we're not just talking about a nice story. We're not just talking about a solid starter. We're talking about a potential difference maker for this team on a team that desperately needs one in the rotation, especially after the start to the year Nick Pivetta had. Hopefully he could bounce back against the Red Sox next weekend. Or actually, no, correction, against the Giants. He'll be pitched against the Giants on Wednesday. But with Nick Pivetta and the outing that he had on opening day, with the uncertainty about Joe Musgrove, with, by the way, everybody's holding their breath for the next 2 days with Walker Buehler and German Marquez. Without those guys, and who knows what you're going to get out of Griffin Canning when he comes back, you need somebody to help solidify this rotation. I thought Michael King did great on Friday night. It's a bummer they couldn't get him a win, but Randy Vásquez can pitch himself into being in the top part of this rotation. I'll say it again. Randy Vásquez can pitch himself into being a number 2 in this rotation. And if everything clicks, don't be shocked if we're having a completely different conversation about him by the end of the season. Because what we saw Saturday night, that wasn't just a win, that was a glimpse of what this team can become. All right, let's get into the weekend that was Padres baseball. When we come back, we're going to talk about the biggest takeaways of the 3-game series. Again, you're excited on a Monday because they won on Saturday. They still lost 2 out of 3 to the Detroit Tigers. Nothing is perfect. There's a lot of problems early on this season that obviously need to be addressed. You're taking on a Giants team who you've completely owned in the last couple of years. Need to keep that going, and you need to kick them while they're down. I mean, they just got their ass handed to them for 3 days by the New York Yankees. I mean, they scored 1 run over the entire weekend. You need to kick them while they're down and knock them back 6 games to start the season so you don't have to worry about them later. We'll talk about that later on the show as well. We got a lot of Padres baseball talk for you. We'll talk about that UConn shot, too, later on in the show. That was incredible. But we're off and rolling. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. 10:18 on a Monday. We're fired up here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We had a great time over the weekend. It was so weird having a day off on Sunday in terms of like Padres baseball. I mean, we always have a day off on Sunday for us, more times than not. But not having Padre game yesterday. I mean, here's the other thing too with Major League Baseball. We're going to talk about the Padres game on Saturday here in a little bit, and we are going to be joined coming up at 10:35 by Dave Flemming, Giants broadcaster. He also does a lot of broadcasting for ESPN. He will be joining us at 10:35 today to give us a preview of Padres and Giants coming up in the next segment. But before we dive into the game on Saturday, and we're going to talk more about the weekend that was for the San Diego Padres, what is Major League Baseball doing, Frank? I know I got to ask this question a lot. You finally you're off and running now with your sport. You start on Wednesday night, albeit it was on Netflix. You had opening day on Thursday. You should have had everybody play on Thursday, to be honest with you. You didn't. Games were broken up throughout the entire weekend. And then how about this? On Sunday, you had no Yankees, you had no Dodgers. I know neither of us like those teams, but for Major League Baseball, I mean, that's a big draw. And neither of them are playing on Sunday. Most of the games had started before 11:20 a.m. Pacific time, and you had no games in California late in the afternoon, and only one game after 1 o'clock yesterday, and not a full slate on a Sunday. I feel like it's a bad. After the first couple of days, you're looking for baseball because you get the bug for baseball being back. And Major League Baseball decided we're not going to play everybody on Sunday. Like, it's just kind of a miss to me. I know you got to take into account you're going to have days off in the first weekend series just because you got to account for rainouts and everything like that. I think it's a miss by Major League Baseball not having a deeper slate yesterday when it comes to baseball games.
Have you considered that baseball are smart?
No,
Have you considered that?
I love the phrase that they'd screw up a ham sandwich because it's so funny. It's so true.
I mean, they could screw up a bread sandwich at this point.
There's a couple of food items that are really hard to screw up, and if you screw those up, I'm never coming back. One's a bean and cheese burrito. One's a burger. You can't screw up a burger. A ham sandwich. It's kind of hard to screw up a ham sandwich. Major League Baseball can find ways to screw up all three of those things at the same time.
It just makes absolutely no sense as to why it's your opening weekend, man. Are you really that afraid that NASCAR at Martinsville is going to take viewers away from you guys, that you're putting half the league, you're having half the league off? It made no sense at all. And I don't mind the integrated schedule. I don't mind where everyone plays everybody. I don't mind that at all. We see it in every other sport except for the NFL, where everyone plays everybody. This is the problem with starting, and I know one team has to do it because there's 15 on each side. This is the problem with starting off teams playing an interleague that have to travel. That's the problem.
Well,
with starting the season off with so many interleague opponents.
Yeah, but you could have done it on a Friday.
You can't have a 4-game series.
Well, you could have done it on
You
Friday.
could have, yes.
Or you do what everybody else does and you play Thursday if you want to play on Thursday, and then you have the off day on Friday just in case it rained in places that have rain, and then you play Saturday, Sunday. But one of those the thing is, though, Frank, they could have literally done all division opponents in the first series.
Yes.
And then here's the other thing, too. They could knock out the interleague rival games in the first weekend of the year for some, like you could knock out the Vetter Cup, one of the deals,
100%,
and then that way, because those teams play each other 6 times.
Yeah,
so
have that be the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Play the a full weekend series, if you will. I mean, there's some ways around it for like the 2 teams that have to, play interleague. But I'm telling you, I think it was a miss by baseball not having games on Sunday. The other thing, too, and like, look, I get it from a standpoint of money, and you're going to accept contracts to televise your games from the highest bidder a lot of times. But NBC, to me, if NBC is going to have games on Sunday Night Baseball, and I knew the schedule already came out before, and we could have talked about this before, but NBC's got the Sunday Night Baseball package now, correct? Right?
Yes.
With that, there's a lot of the games at the beginning of the year that are on Peacock because they're playing the NBA on NBC. At the first part of the year, like the first weekend, that should be a weekend that you got baseball on NBC, not just Peacock.
That was something I was thinking about with opening day. How much money do you think that NBC paid to have Paul Skeens on opening day?
Mm-hmm.
And they effectively paid for a Tyson fight. It was over in 5 seconds. Like you paid like $10 million for a Tyson fight.
Nobody is madder at
Just
O'Neal.
to throw out a number.
Nobody is madder at O'Neal Cruz than NBC. I will say that right now. Nobody is more pissed off at O'Neal Cruz and his lack of ability to play in the outfield than NBC. I'm gonna tell you, Pirates fans, I know you might be upset about O'Neal Cruz. Nobody's more upset than NBC. Because they lost Paul Skeens with 2/3 of an inning out for the game because O'Neal Cruz can't catch a fly ball. Oh, but there was sun. He wasn't wearing sunglasses either. He looked like a circus out there.
He really did.
It was bad.
But back-to-back plays too. That does not help your cause.
No, it does not. We're going to talk more about Major League Baseball in a second. I do want to take away the big picture of Saturday night, and then we'll talk about the big picture of the series against the Tigers in the 11 o'clock hour because we have Dave Flemming coming on next. That was a big bounce back win for the Padres. Randy Vásquez is the highlight of that game. Also, Kyle Hart pitched pretty well too, and the two guys that looked the best in spring training from a somewhat rotation standpoint, they looked really good on Saturday night. And Randy Vásquez, 6 scoreless innings, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts. That was a Tigers team, Frank, that started the season red hot, and Vásquez made him look silly.
Yeah, for sure. He put on the best pitching performance of the weekend, bar none. He was by far and away the best starting pitcher of the weekend for the Padres. That was a perfect performance, or as perfect as you could get. Only 2 hits. Both of them were by Colt Keith. 8 strikeouts. He did have 3 walks in there, but I mean, you can live with that if you're putting up a 0. And I mean, you can't really complain. You cannot complain. Through 91 pitches, he also had the best strike to overall pitch ratio of any of the 3 pitchers this weekend for the Padres. So you cannot complain about Randy Vásquez at all this weekend. He had
the velocity jump. We were watching that in spring training. He topped out at 97.8 miles an hour. His sinker jumped to 95.5 miles an hour from 93. And his last 5 starts dating back to 2025, a 1.98 ERA with a 24.5% K rate, nearly double his previous amount. And we talked about it in the open. I mean, he was a guy that couldn't miss bats. And now if you start looking back at his last 4 starts and then this start on Saturday to start the season, he's been a completely different pitcher down the stretch of last year into this year, working with Yu Darvish a lot. He's being better conditioned, more conviction in attacking the zone. And the thing with Yu Darvish's influence, he's talked about the mixed pitches, finish hitters with heat, and classic Darvish sequencing approach. This is why I will always back Yu Darvish, because this is the stuff that this is what you get out of Yu Darvish, even when he's not pitching. Now, right now, I don't know what the conversation is like with him being on the restricted list, but with him being part of this organization, he has helped Randy Vásquez turn into a guy that could be in the front part of your rotation for years to come.
Yeah, you might not always have the ability of the guy, but you could certainly take some knowledge and apply it in a way that works for you. And that's exactly what it appears as though Randy Vásquez has done. The bump in velocity also really helps. I mean, it may only seem like a mile an hour or 2, but that's a significant jump from a guy when you're used to seeing him throw 93, 94. All of a sudden he's throwing 95, 96. That is a massive jump to a hitter. So a lot, again, we talked about it on Friday. We talked about it on Saturday as well. There is a lot of great work that we have seen out of Randy Vásquez. And now we've heard that Yu Darvish won't be around much.
I don't think he can on the restricted list, right?
Yeah, he won't be around the team much this year, but whatever little bit he can do, if it's a phone call,
We don't know if he can even do that.
if he's allowed
But
to do
during
so.
spring training and during the offseason, he made a big impact.
Yeah.
Made a huge impact. We'll see how that develops. We got to take a break because we got Dave Flemming coming on with us to break down this series against the Giants in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll continue to recap what happened over the weekend for the Padres against the Tigers. But Randy Vásquez, I think, to me, is the swingman of this rotation. If he is as good as he was on Saturday, this rotation goes from being a concern to maybe a strength. And if not, it's going to be top heavy and fragile, and we'll see if they can survive to the trade deadline. Dave Flemming from the San Francisco Giants, the play-by-play man, joins us next on the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us over on Sports Station 97 through the Fan. $10:35 on a Monday. A little bit of miscommunication with the Giants, but we're going to get to Dave Flemming in about 11 o'clock this morning. So it gives us an opportunity, Frank, to, first of all, mention that we are broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Also, we'll mention that when Dave Flemming joins us at 11 o'clock, he will be joining us in the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. But it gives us another opportunity to talk about the weekend that was when it comes to the San Diego Padres in terms of specifically Saturday's game. And then we'll talk more about the overall situation with the Padres after the first weekend. So the starting pitching conversation. I was honestly a little bit more encouraged after the second and third day from the starting rotation than I was after day one. I think day one with Nick Pivetta on opening day, I think a lot of things are going through pitching on opening day. And we'll see how Nick Pivetta does in a bounce back maybe on Wednesday against the Giants. I was encouraged by Michael King's outing. I thought Michael King was great. I mean, he didn't give up any earned runs. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings. That's what you want to get, right? I mean, it'd be nice for him to go 6, but after the spring that Michael King had, I thought that was a good bounce back to start the season. And then Randy Vásquez really solidified this is feeling a little bit better about this conversation. Now, again, for all of the negative outings you probably got out of the Padres, and you can use the excuse, it's just one game. I think you can say the same thing about the positive ones too. It's like, all right, well, he looked really good, like Randy Vásquez did, and Michael King did, but it's still only one game. The next 2 days, I think, are very important for the status of this rotation. Again, it's only the first time through. We'll see what happens the second time through the rotation when that will start the end of the Giants series through the Red Sox and then into Pittsburgh. But the last 2 days, Frank, has encouraged me more about the starting rotation than sitting after day one going, man, this might get rough.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, we know the star performance that Randy Vásquez gave. Michael King, a little up and down. That was the most he's pitched in a single game since his injuries last year. So you kind of more or less expected it. I think he had 3 or 4 walks, which wasn't great. Same thing with Vásquez. He had 3. But starting pitching Pivetta looked very, very shaky on opening day.
It's opening day.
Yes. And then King started the process of bringing it back around for the rotation, and then Vásquez really nailed it down. And now it's on Walker Buehler, Germán Marquez to keep that momentum going before we hit Wednesday afternoon when we get back to the top of the rotation.
These next 3 days against the Giants, I think, are very telling because you're going to see Walker Buehler in a different form now, right? I mean, we talked about it with him in spring training, but this is the first time I think a lot of Padres fans get to see him in person. And again, to anybody listening that might be going to the game tonight to watch the Padres play the Giants, just understand that this is a different Walker Buehler than you saw in a Dodgers uniform. He's not going to be touching like 97. So for anybody that has not talked or like maybe because we get like right now we're getting a lot more newer audience of people that are like, oh, baseball's back. Let's get back to the fan and talk Padres baseball that might be seeing Walker Buehler. Oh my God, Walker Buehler's a Padre. Well, in spring training, the guy, he was good, but he's different. He's not throwing the ball very hard. So I'm warning people now, I will not take a phone call about Walker Buehler throwing 92, 93 miles an hour and people freaking out about it.
Yeah, he's
not that pitcher anymore.
No, he's a brains over brawn pitcher now instead of the other way around.
Pitch mix. Darvish, pitch mix type pitcher. You're going to see him dabble in the sinker. You're going to see him throw his sweeper a lot. You're going to see him twirl that knuckle curve in there a couple of times. You're going to see him get creative to strike out batters. Now, I think this is a good opportunity for Walker Buehler because you're getting an ice cold San Francisco Giants offense. I mean, ice cold. They were shut out their first 2 games of the series against the Yankees, and they only got 1 run over the weekend. Don't let the Giants get hot against Walker. I will say this. If Walker Buehler gives up runs in the first inning, I know it's early. He doesn't have the luxury to be able to do that and stay on the team when Griffin Canning comes back, or maybe Ramon Marquez. These guys need to go out and attack an offense that's already pressing to start the season because they were awful this weekend against New York. The Giants were awful. They got beat up on Wednesday night to start the season. The first game of Major League Baseball, it was like 7-0. Logan Webb was awful. They got shut out. And then on Friday, well, the pitching staff wasn't that bad. They only gave up 3 runs, but then they got shut out again. And then they finally mustered a run on Saturday, but that's not enough to beat the New York Yankees. As much as like this show specifically from our resident New Yorker here does not like the Yankees, they're still a good team that's going to score runs. And 1 run out of this Giants offense is not great, Bob. It's not great. So Walker, a guy that has historically owned the Giants back to his Dodger days, this could be really set up for him to start off the season very well. And I think he's got to kick the Giants when they're down. It's time to kick the Giants when they're down, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see him tonight. But overall, when it comes to the starting rotation, very encouraged by Randy Vásquez. And Randy Vásquez, to me, is the swing man of this rotation because they need somebody other than like the top half. And I think Nick Pivetta is going to bounce back after the start that he had last week. I was encouraged by Michael King's outing. They need somebody else to really step up. And it might be Walker Buehler or Ramon Marquez, but I really think Randy Vásquez is that pitcher. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when Griffin Canning comes back to see if he could fit in. But the biggest concern for the Padres looked like the biggest concern on opening day, and then slowly started to be a little bit more of a sign of confidence, I think, watching the rest of the rotation pitch like Michael King and Randy Vásquez. Now, with Nick Pivetta's opening day, the bullpen got taxed a little bit early. The rotation still has volatility behind the top arms, but I like the way Vásquez pitched and really stepped up. The other one, too, the bullpen depth that has been really good. They had the tough time with Jeremiah Estrada on Friday night, and Estrada has been trending in the wrong direction dating back to last year. But the other parts of the bullpen were great. Morejon was great. Wandy Peralta's been pretty good. I mean, a lot of people want to blame Wandy Peralta for that inning that gave up runs to the Tigers. Those aren't his runs. He inherited a very rough situation after pitching on opening day. Had to pitch back-to-back days. David Morgan's looked good. Mason Miller, electric. Got to see him for the first time. Debuted his new song, Blind by Korn. I don't mind it. The Reaper stuff all over the video boards is sick. That was pretty cool. He threw a lot of sliders on the weekend.
Yes, he did.
He was automatic.
He was still touching 102. I think I saw he's got like 7 of the top 10 hardest pitches thrown through the first weekend now.
Yes,
including like the top 5.
He had 7 of the top 9 of the 9 hardest pitches thrown to start the season. He pitched in 1 game this weekend. He pitched on Saturday. This is the only time he pitched. We're going to talk about Mason Miller in a second. Kyle Hart, 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts.
Yes, very good from him. Very impressive.
He saved a lot of bullpen arms. I mean, I thought it was interesting that Craig Stammen went to Kyle Hart in a 3-run game, right?
Yes.
I thought it was interesting that he went to Kyle Hart and not to Morejon or Estrada or Morgan or even Bradley Rodriguez. I mean, they went to the long relief guy. I know he needed to get some work in, but they let him go 2 innings, and he was great. And then the ball, the one ball that was hit hard off Kyle Hart that was laced to right field that Fernando came and made a sliding catch on. Did you watch Kyle Hart on that? I don't know why you would, but I was specifically watching
no.
Kyle Hart. Kyle Hart, as soon as the ball was hit, walked in the dugout. He just already knew that Fernando was going to make him catch. He just started walking. He didn't stop to look. He literally just beelines into the dugout. He just starts walking in the dugout. He already knew. He didn't see Fernando catch the ball. He heard the crowd. I'm sure he thought it was impressive. He looked, gave 2 claps. He walked right into the dugout.
That was that Tarek Skubal energy, because Skubal did that a couple times on opening day. Ball went up in the air, and he is halfway back to the Tiger dugout by the time Kerry Carpenter finally made the catch.
I like the way Kyle Hart pitched. I mean, that's a guy that's going to give you innings throughout the year. Now, I would imagine Kyle Hart more times than not is going to be pitching when the Padres get into a massive jam early in the game. I would imagine that to be the case. Now, I know he's a lefty that you can pull out of the bullpen, and maybe they used him because they used Wandy the first 2 days and they needed a lefty coming out of the pen. Didn't necessarily want to use Morahone a lot at the beginning of the year. But
Morahone also threw two
innings on Friday. Right?
Yeah, so you're not going to have him go. You're not going to have Wandy go after throwing back-to-back days to start the year. You're not going to have. I wouldn't have thought you would have had Morahone go after throwing 2 innings the night before. And with how lefty heavy the Tiger lineup is, Kyle Hart seemed like the most logical option there. And it worked out well for him.
Well, it's huge because they had here's how I view it. I think they probably were like, all right, well, Hart's the only guy besides Miller that hasn't pitched yet. And if we can sneak Hart in there and he can give us a 0, I think they were just going to have him flirt until a couple of runners got on, and then it was time to go to somebody else. And they didn't have anybody warming up. But the fact that Hart gave you 2 shutout innings, that's the unsung hero of Saturday's game, because now the entire bullpen resets, because the entire bullpen had the day off on Saturday, except for Hart and Miller. Miller and Hart both didn't pitch the first 2 games. And everybody had yesterday off. So for everyone in the bullpen, before you start a series against the Giants, which is the most important, like division series are important, everybody has had 2 days off, and your closer has a day off, and Kyle Hart got a day off. So your entire bullpen is fresh to start this season, or start this series against the Giants, after what looked a little concerning that you had to use 4 arms on opening day and 4 arms on Friday in a couple of losses. Kyle Hart is the unsung hero to reset the bullpen for a division opponent that's limping in here after getting smashed around for 2 straight days. So I love the way that Kyle Hart was able to pitch on Saturday. I think it was huge. The bullpen, I mean, even like would you say not to disrespect Kyle Hart, I think he does a pretty good job, but this bullpen's loaded. I mean, out of all the names in the bullpen, Hart isn't the best. I don't want to say he's the worst, but out of the group, like he's there for long relief and to eat innings. It's not like he's supposed to be. He's
not the guy who's jumping off the page at you.
Right. And the fact that he went out there and shoved, I think shows you what this bullpen could potentially be. Sure. I mean, he didn't have great outings out of everybody. Marinacio's outing was okay on opening day. He gave up the home run. Jeremiah Estrada ran himself into problems, but overall takeaway, the bullpen was fine. The offense. Now, their approach versus elite pitching, they faced Tarek Skubal and Framber Valdez in the first 2 games, and their game plan, according to the reports from Kevin Acee, was attack early and avoid pitchers' counts. With the result, they had low pitch counts early in the series, which means Skubal and Valdez got to stay in the game longer, but the coaching staff said it was intentional. That's a little bit different than how I would view it. But if that was the game plan, then that's the game plan. They executed their game plan. It didn't go the way they wanted it to go. Okay, fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that answer. And then they made the adjustment in game 3. They saw 155 pitches in game 3. They were more disciplined. They took longer at bats. Fernando Tatis Jr. Got buzzed inside. He stayed in the box. He adjusted, got an RBI single the other way. That's pretty good maturity and superstar level hitting maturity from a guy that got spooked by that last year. And that was the key for this season, was he has to be able to handle getting pitched inside like that. He did it tremendously. And then he goes the other way. And when the stars on this team are hitting the other way, they're really in a good mindset hitting-wise. And you got to see that a lot on Saturday night. Not only did they see a lot of pitches, but they were hitting the ball all over the yard.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Flaherty to come in and buzz the tower a little bit, and then for Fernando to immediately just dig right back in, that's massive. Because as you said, he is really he's gotten frazzled by that. So for him to immediately wipe it clean, get back in, and continue to have his approach the way he should, that's huge. That's a lot of progression. That's a lot of development out of Fernando, which, I mean, that could only mean great things. We've been saying all year that he's poised to have a great year. That right there is the first sign that whatever he did during the offseason is really working.
I think it's interesting about the situation. I mean, this is the most, and maybe it's because Steven Souza Jr. is the hitting coach, and maybe he's more up to talking about what their plan is. I mean, but I don't remember a lot of the approaches being announced in the paper the next couple of days, but it sounds like they, I don't mind that. I like the transparency. I mean, first 2 days it was by design to kind of attack early, try to jump on the fastball. And I think you saw that with Xander Bogaerts. I think that's why he had success on Thursday against Tarek Skubal. He saw what he wanted early, he swung, he attacked it, and he got some base hits. But I like the situational flexibility out of this team from this offense. And I know it's only been 3 games. You would have liked to see him score more runs in the first 2 games, but I like the lineup strategy too. I mean, Cronenworth leading off for his righties and then batting last against lefties. I think that's a good philosophy for this team. I don't mind having Fernando bat lead off against lefties and then maybe bat him a little bit lower in the lineup against righties. I thought the lineup was construction was good the other day. And here's the thing, like, I know a lot of people are pushing for Ramon Laureano to bat higher in the order. I think you might be able to. Right now, the Gavin Sheets, Ty France kind of platoon right there in the middle hasn't necessarily worked out. I mean, Gavin Sheets still looking for his first hit. You want to move that part down to 7. I think you're okay, but it's good to have a lengthened lineup as much as you can. But if the platoon group of Sheets and I mean, Andujar did all right. I mean, he's there for lefties. But if the platoon group of France and Sheets continues to not hit and strike out, you got to move them to like 7 in the order. I mean, Freddie Fermin puts out good at bats too. Maybe you bat Sheets 8th and then Fermin's like 7 to try to break it up a little bit. But again, it's early in the season, and I like the lineups that they have put out so far for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, they've been good, and having Jake Cronenworth lead off yesterday, I believe, if I remember. Oh yeah, 1 for 3 at a walk, 2 runs scored. He had 2 hits, I believe, the day before. So I mean, a solid outing for the lineups so far. Now that middle part of the lineup has been really bad. You cannot have guys like Jackson Merrill and Gavin Sheets or Miguel Andujar or whoever's in that spot going over. That is a big problem, especially when you get guys at the top of the lineup on base. You had, I believe they went 1 for 10 at the bottom of the order on opening day. They've been hitting. So it's that middle 3 right now that you really need to focus on and getting them right in order to have that deep lineup that it looks on paper.
We're going to get to some more takeaways in the 11 o'clock hour. Dave Flemming is going to join us next on the Braden Surprenant Show to talk about what was a disastrous start for the season for Tony Vitello, but also at the same time, the San Francisco Giants. I mean, they are limping in here. You cannot let them get hot because you're competing with them in the National League West. I mean, these are the games that are the most important if you're the Padres. It's not games against LA. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's the Diamondbacks who got swept by the Dodgers of the weekend. That's good news for you Padres fans because you're competing with them for a playoff spot. You need to do well against the Diamondbacks. You need to do well against the Giants, and you really got to rack up wins against the Rockies if you want to make the playoffs. And so this series against the Giants, already an important series to start the season. It's more important than what happened against the Tigers and the Red Sox coming up, and even the Pirates after that, because these games almost count as double because of division games. Giants are limping in. We'll get you the full report when we come back. Dave Flemming will join us on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Joining us now on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's Better Is, the great play-by-play man. Not only for ESPN, you see him doing a lot of different college games out there. He mixes in with a lot of different things with ESPN, but he's also the play-by-play man for the San Francisco Giants. He joins us now. His name is Dave Flemming. Dave, what's going on? How's your Monday going?
It's going great so far. Happy to be down in San Diego. Baseball season starting. One of my favorite places, Petco Park. So nice to talk to you guys.
Nice to talk to you as well. We really appreciate you giving us some time today to give us a preview of this upcoming series. And Dave, let's talk about the Giants. I mean, obviously a slow start, some offensive concerns, 20 scoreless innings to open the season. I mean, that's historically bad for this franchise, especially with some of the names that they have in this roster and in this batting order. From what you've seen, is just kind of early season timing issues, or are there starting to be a little bit of concerns for the Giants this early in the season with the lineup and the lack of runs against the Yankees this weekend?
Yeah, for me, way too early for big concerns. I mean, it was a terrible way to start the season, especially when you start at home and you got 3 huge crowds and all the excitement of opening day, and then you just don't give your fans anything to be excited about. I mean, really, there was just no juice to the games themselves. There was tons of juice before the games all weekend long. That was disappointing. Way too early to be overly concerned. I mean, it has been just a very strange rollout to the season for the Giants. Spring training went really well, like a really good camp, winning games, hitting, all the young guys performing. And then right at the end, the offense just kind of had a quiet few games at the end of the exhibition schedule. And then the Giants opened on that Netflix game. It was like a weird night to start the season, and an off day, and a Friday game that was a day game that was opening day part 2. And it's not an excuse, but the whole thing just felt really fragmented to me. And I wondered whether it really threw some of the players off a little bit, the run up to those games. So my hope is that starting this week, it's more like a normal baseball season, and the Giants can just kind of fall into a rhythm from here, because there was no rhythm whatsoever the first weekend of the year.
We were talking about that ourselves. I mean, the Padres had yesterday off too. I mean, a Sunday off in Major League Baseball is a rarity. It's hard to really get settled in, especially when you throw in an extra day off and playing on Wednesday on Netflix and all that fun stuff. It's definitely a crazy start to the season, and a kind of a tough start for, a brand new manager. I mean, all eyes are on Tony Vitello, who's making the jump from college to the big leagues. My brother went to the University of Tennessee, Dave, so I've watched a lot of Tennessee baseball when Tony was the head coach of the Volunteers. I mean, he has had some great success, and everybody wants to ask the question, can you bring him up to the big leagues? How has your interactions with Tony been so far, and what's the vibe been with a college coach now coaching at the major leagues? I know it's a big national story, but how is it for you guys locally up there in San Francisco?
It is a big national story. There's probably more scrutiny on Tony than, arguably any manager, new manager, at least in the last decade in MLB, just because of the story and the background and the unprecedented nature of where he came from. But this is a smart baseball guy. Like, this is not some college rah-rah. The stereotype, at least in the old days of college baseball, is, we're going to bunt our third place hitter, and I'm in charge. I'm calling every pitch from the dugout. And Tony is not that. Tony is a very, very smart, savvy baseball person who has followed big league baseball really closely. He's friends with a lot of people around the game. That's part of the reason why he took the job. I have no doubt that Tony can do this job and do it at a high level. I think the players have bought into his baseball acumen. Spring training felt totally normal, which I think was like the ultimate compliment. There wasn't anything that felt unusual, or, it was high energy. It was spirited, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this guy's trying to change the way the big leagues operate. Not at all. But it's part of the reason why the weekend was so disappointing, because there is pressure on the beginning of the season, and just for Tony to kind of like get to a point where it's not about him. And the Giants need to win a few games for that to happen. I mean, it's just inevitable. Like, there were questions immediately, which is totally unfair, but like, oh my gosh, does this have something to do with the manager? It had nothing to do with the manager, but until they can win a few games, score a few runs, and just kind of look like the normal version of themselves, all that talk is probably going to persist.
We're talking with the play-by-play voice of the San Francisco Giants, Dave Flemming, on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking, it's better, as we're here on the Braden Surprenant show on a Monday morning, getting ready for Padres and Giants later on this evening to start a very important series between two teams that are battling, obviously, for playoff recognition this year. Let's talk about the rotation a little bit. I mean, the Giants didn't go, necessarily big on frontline pitching this offseason. Saw some early struggles with Logan Webb and newcomers Tyler Mahle, but this is a Padres lineup that thrives on contact. What should Padres fans expect with some of the starters this week for the San Francisco Giants?
Yeah, you're going to see Landon Roop tonight, and Landon, the Padres saw him last year. He's a young guy who is talented, has had a hard time staying healthy. He's not, he's not one of these, Paul Skeens, Mizorowski, power young arms. He's more of a sort of an old school pitcher, and he's very effective at what he does. So Landon Roop's good. He's an important part of the Giants season and future. Logan Webb's going to pitch in this series as well, looking to bounce back. Logan's had he's had some struggles in this park over the last few years. Padres at times have gotten to him. So I think that's going to be interesting to see Webb. Webb's one of these guys. He pitched in the World Baseball Classic. Not that he came out not healthy. He's fully healthy, but there have been a lot of examples over the last many years of pitchers who've gone to that event and had a hard time transitioning back and going back into spring training mode and then flipping the switch in the regular season. It's just kind of a roller coaster ride for these guys that's different from their normal preparation for the season. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on Logan Webb when he gets the ball in this series for the second time. Giants don't have a ton of starting pitching depth. So they really are going to lean on Webb, Ray, Roop, Hauser, Mahle, the five that start the year. The Giants are looking to get as much out of those five as they possibly can.
Damn, I feel like we're talking about the exact same teams going against each other this week. Padres have question marks in the rotation. Padres have a brand new manager. Offense did okay, but not necessarily great, but they have some stars mixed in as well. Two very similar teams playing this week, and just from your perspective, and we'll dive back into the series in a second. I do want to know from a broadcaster point of view. We got some new rules now in Major League Baseball. We got the ABS system. What was it like for you guys this weekend against the Yankees in terms of the ABS? How did you view it as a broadcaster? What was your experience like? Really being able to see it for the first time in regular season games.
Yeah, it was a huge part of the story of the weekend. Huge. It was, in the second game of the year, Aaron Judge had an at-bat where he challenged a call that was very close. I mean, as close as it can possibly be and be overturned. 1/10 of an inch, I think, is the closest a pitch can be. And Judge was right. And instead of 1-1, it was 2-0. And he homered in the at-bat, a few pitches later. So it was a huge call, huge swing in that sequence. We had a game on Saturday, the finale of the series, where I know CB Buckner is catching all kinds of grief for his performance and having all these calls overturned. Chad Whitson was the home plate umpire for Giants Yankees. 7 for 7 players were challenging him and successful. Like Chad Whitson had 7 calls overturned and never was right when a player challenged. It was just a brutal game for him, and I felt bad for him as it went along. It was just snowballing, and so the umpire's reaction to it is going to be interesting as this thing goes along. I know there are a few guys who have to be unhappy with the way the thing played out, and I guess part of the reason for that is, I'm sure you all saw that. We saw it in San Francisco. It was definitely in Cincinnati. It was a big part of the story of that series. the fan reaction to this thing has been way bigger than I anticipated it would be. It's part of why I'm feeling for the umpires right now, because it's like now fans are rooting against umpires too, and it's created just a strange dynamic. But in terms of the excitement of being in the park, weirdly, I think this new system has added an element of fun and excitement. I certainly didn't anticipate that, but that seems to be the case, at least here early.
Yeah, it seemed like that this weekend. We didn't have as many challenges as you guys did over the weekend, but there was a couple of times where the Padres catchers flipped a walk into a strikeout throughout the at-bat, and fans went nuts for it every single time. And I don't know, maybe it's the graphic, Dave. Maybe people are super interested in the little graphic they put on the video board. It seems very entertaining for a lot of people.
Yeah, the delay helps. I mean, you don't want it. The fine line is you don't want this to stall the game out. Like, we've done such a good job in baseball the last few years of creating much more pace and tempo to games. It's made it a much more fun sport to watch. You do not want to mess with that. I'm like, at all costs. But that little pause of the thing goes up on the board and fans get to kind of anticipate it. And especially when, it's one thing when it's like a 1-0 pitch that gets challenged, but when it is like you're saying that, strikeout or walk or, strike three or not or whatever, that drama is real. And so that little delay, whether you credit the way the graphic is built or just sort of the time built into the reveal, that definitely seems to be a factor here in making it. I think it's a hit so far. Who would have ever thought like a robot strike zone might actually be a fun part of the game? But, in the first weekend, I think that was a big storyline.
I think it's also fun that you only get a couple of them too. I think that makes it more suspenseful if it's not every single time, because people will get bored if it's every single time. We're talking with Dave Flemming, who's the play-by-play voice of the San Francisco Giants. Dave, I got one more question for you, just as a sports broadcasting nerd that I am. I do play-by-play at the University of San Diego. I know you do a lot of West Coast Conference games out here on the West Coast. Your career seems really fun. I know it's tough, you miss time with the family and everything like that. I know you work really hard, but how cool is it to work for the Giants, who have a bunch of great broadcasters, legendary broadcasters? I think yourself is included in that. But when you get to the fall, what is the week like for Dave Flemming, who's got to fly to some college football game, got the Giants mixed in? I mean, that's a lot of moving around. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. I know it's a lot of work, but what's the day in the life of Dave Flemming as the Giants broadcaster when it gets to some of those busy months for you?
Yeah, I appreciate the nice words. I mean, it's all fun. It is a lot of work, and it's a lot of travel, and there is a grind element to it. Like, you got to kind of love to lean into that. I do, but I love the variety. My life is full of variety, and that's really fun. And sometimes I like the events most that are a little bit off the radar. Just thinking in the last year, some of my absolute favorite things that I've done, non-baseball, I get to do the World Series for the World Feed for MLB. The World Series was absolutely incredible. So that's kind of like the pinnacle. You're at the World Series. It's Game 7 and one of the great sort of ends to a World Series of all time. And yet, when I think of my last year, the World Series is up there, but so is the FCS National Championship, Montana State and Illinois State football. Just a totally wacky, goofy, all-time great championship game. The Ivy League championship was incredible in basketball, like one of the great individual performances I've ever seen. Gonzaga St. Mary's for the final time that they'll ever meet as conference foes was an incredibly memorable scene. So sometimes, I'm privileged. I get to do a lot of these really big events, and sometimes my favorites are the ones that you would never anticipate going in, and that's part of the variety that I really, really love.
And I know you've been on with us long enough, and I'll let you get on with the day. The point that I really want to just follow up on that with, that I find funny, is watching a lot of these games. I mean, Dave, you went from calling the World Series, right, and having a great, probably a lot better of a booth at a big league ballpark. I mean, the Ivy League championship, you look like you're it's like a high school gym. You had like people sitting right behind you. You look like you were on one of the benches, a wooden bench from a high school gym. I mean, you've got to call a lot of games, a lot of interesting booths, if you will.
And it can be as fun as doing the World Series. It really is like it's just a funny thing about this. And maybe if I were Mike Tirico, I wouldn't find that as much fun if I'm doing a huge event every single week. But I love bouncing around and going to some places where they're like really excited to see you, and they don't get a chance to be on, big television very often. That's pretty fun.
It's a great time. We broadcast on YouTube. We already have somebody jumping on the YouTube chat going like, hearing Dave Flemming's voice, I'm getting excited for Arizona State playing at BYU, thinking he's probably going to be on the call late at night. So you know what? Sometimes it's the connection to the voice, Dave. I mean, as a TCU grad, now with the Big 12 being out in the West Coast, if they play BYU on the road, I'm more likely than not, I think I'm going to hear Dave Flemming's voice. But Dave,
you're getting me. Whether you want it or not, you're getting me.
That's right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing some of those. So be a little bit extra favorable on the Frogs. I'm just kidding. We appreciate the time, Dave. Have a great week here in San Diego. Thanks again for taking the time to talk with us, and we'll talk to you next time.
You're welcome. Yeah, anytime.
Dave Flemming, radio play-by-play voice of the San Francisco Giants, joining us on the Braden Surprenant show. That was a fun conversation. Dave's got like the coolest job ever. I think Dave Flemming's got such a great job as a radio broadcast. I mean, he gets to do he gets the radio broadcast with the San Francisco Giants. He used to do Stanford football, but now he gets to do ESPN and travel over the place. I mean, that was great. It's funny he brought up the Ivy League championship, because were we watching that game in here? I can't remember where I was watching that game, and they went to a live shot.
We might have been.
And Dave's sitting there with his color analyst, and they're on like a bleacher that you would see at any gym, in a high school gym, and they had two kids right behind him, like doing a staring contest, like the troll people behind the broadcasters.
Yes, yep.
I mean, they're sitting right next to these guys. That guy was doing the World Series right before that. Like, his path too is crazy. It's all, I mean, he's going to do Arizona State, playing BYU, as mentioned before. He's going to do a Big 12 game. He's got West Coast Conference, St. Mary's, Gonzaga. I know that's not going to be a thing anymore, but he mixes that in with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, what a fun job. And it's so hard, man. I mean, he's got kids and everything like that. So he misses, the family time probably misses, but these guys, you got to love it. And that's what I tell, like, I'm talking to a class at TCU next Wednesday, in their senior seminar or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. And every time they told me in college, and I have to say the same thing, just like Dave said, you have to love this. You miss so much time with everything. You have to love this. And Dave's a guy to me that just loves calling sports.
100%. And you got to reel your buddy in here, Sushi Sam, in the chat. It's Flemming, not He's Fleming.
Yeah, that's right. You guys are a little bit different on that. All right, when we come back, we're going to dive back into what happened over the weekend for the Padres, what the path is like for the Padres this year. I mean, we talked about the importance of this series against the Giants. I'm telling you, the Diamondbacks, Giants, and Rockies series are the most important series all year for the Padres. We'll talk about that later on as well as we continue. The Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. 11:24 on a Monday morning. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We got a lot to talk about still today about the San Diego Padres. We're cruising through this show already. We got later on, we will talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament. That game yesterday, UConn and Duke, was amazing. It was amazing how dumb both teams were to finish the game, but it was still amazing. I was unable to watch the Arizona game because I was at the Padres game, but that was a great win for the Arizona Wildcats. Shout out to Wilbur in our YouTube chat. I wonder if he's going to the Final Four. He's got to go to the Final Four. If your college basketball team and it's your school that you went to makes the Final Four, I feel like you have to go to the Final Four, right? I told my dad that when the Aztecs made it, he was like on the fence. I'm like, do it. When are they ever going to go back there? Like, no offense to the Aztecs, but San Diego State made the Final Four. You had to go. Just like TCU made the national championship for football, I had to go. I don't care if they got their ass kicked or not. I had to go. If your university makes it to the Final Four, the one that you attended, that you paid tuition for, or they made the national championship, in one of the major sports, you have to go. If you're on the fence right now and you went to Illinois or UConn or Michigan or Arizona, you have to go. Seriously, you have to go. Wild Wilbur in our YouTube chat, Wilbur the Wildcat, he said he was watching while he was sitting at the Padre game. Yo, this is what my mom did. You hear what my mom did on Saturday?
No.
We all had tickets to the game. We went to the game as a fam.
Yes.
Right? Kind of did that to give my sister FOMO for not, living here anymore. She might be on the fence of moving back, which would be great. I think with every single one of the pictures that we send, the FOMO, you actually were a part of one of those photos when we were live at Far Corner.
Yes.
When we took the family and then your family was there. She had to ask who those people were first, but you know what? It was part of the FOMO game. We played the FOMO game all day. So we took the picture. It's like the second inning. And then my mom's like, all right, I'm out of here. And we're like, excuse me?
Yo?
What? One of her college friends was in town, who she went to Arizona with. They went to Tom's Watch Bar and watched the Arizona game.
Oh, gosh.
They had a great time.
Good
Good
on
for
her.
them.
Absolutely. Good on her.
I mean, if I knew you weren't going to use that ticket, I could have saved me some money on buying tickets. I mean, come on. She left the Padre game like the second inning. And then they're like, hey, you can show your ticket to come back in here. By that time, though, we had already used the tickets, and my dad had them all on his phone. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think you can send a ticket after it's been used. Anyway,
I don't think you can. I mean, you could have maybe sent a screenshot of it, possibly, to where she could have gotten back in that way. But I don't know.
I don't know. She didn't end up trying to come back in anyway because Arizona was still playing. And Arizona was they had to come back from 15. They were down at least double digits early in that contest. They came back to win. So she watched it at Tom's Watch Bar. She got to watch some of the game from Tom's Watch Bar, though, the Padre game. She got to hear the Padre game and watch the Wildcats.
It's a double dip for you.
Now, she will not be going to the Final Four because she's going to Boston. That's what we get for already booking the
trip.
I thought for sure.
I heard you say that a couple days ago.
I thought for sure Tennessee was going to win before the game started against Michigan, just because we decided to book a trip to Boston for the Padres Red Sox. That would be the time that two of our schools make the Final Four in Indianapolis. That would have been so spectacular.
Oops.
You guys want to go to Indianapolis? Nobody wants to go to Indianapolis.
Our bad.
The recurring bit of me making fun of the state of Indiana and upsetting people.
I wouldn't mind going to Indianapolis in a couple months.
No, for the Indy 500 or the Brickyard?
Indy 500.
Well, I figured out which NASCAR races I'm going to. I already have tickets to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm going to get a credential for myself, but apparently the fam's going. Yeah. I told you. I think they're going to go to we're going to Sunday's race. I think they're going to Sunday's race, and then my uncle.
This Sunday?
No, for the one here.
I'm not going to a NASCAR race. No, I was going to say, wait, what?
He's going this Sunday. Or sorry, he's going to go. We're going to go
Sunday. They're here in
San Diego.
Yes.
So Father's Day. for the big race. And then I think they're going maybe all 3 days. I can't remember, but that's why I would need a credential. But yeah, it's going to be a fun time out there. Hopefully the weather's great. Should be.
I would have to imagine it will
You never know. You never know. All right. I do want to, because we got to get to a couple of the things here, but I do want to talk a little bit more about Randy Vásquez. And I think this is an interesting question we could talk about for the next couple of minutes before we go to break. Did Randy Vásquez just change the Padres' entire season outlook? I know it's one start we talked about in the open, but for me, when I see that question, I want to say yes, because the season outlook hinges on what?
Starting pitching.
The starting rotation. Fangraphs doesn't like the Padres because of what? The starting rotation. And in part of that starting rotation, before the season started, because remember, they put this projection out before knowing like what Joe Musgrove's status was and everything like that. Randy Vásquez was going to be the number 4 starter. And they didn't like Randy Vásquez as the number 4 starter. So that knocked down the overall total of what the Padres win count was going to be at the end of the year. That wasn't just Fangraphs, but every other outlet that does the over-under for wins or projections for wins for the season. So Randy Vásquez pitching like he did on Saturday, which is legit. And again, here's the thing. It's only one start. As much as I like to say that about Nick Pivetta, you have to say it about Randy Vásquez. But I think the answer is yes. I think Randy Vásquez did just change the Padres' entire season outlook. And again, as we mentioned before, if you go back to his last 5 starts, he's got a 1.98 ERA. That's dating back to last season. As frustrating as he was to watch pitch because he didn't have a lot of swing and miss stuff, his last couple of starts in 2025, he had that swing and miss stuff, and you saw it again on Saturday. I think Randy Vásquez did just change the Padres' entire season outlook, Frank.
Yeah, we talked about it on Friday. I mean, we talked about it on Friday and Saturday. He has the potential this year to have a breakout year and become one of the star pieces of this starting rotation. And we had to break it down a little bit because a couple of the listeners got a little confused with what we were saying. Just because you're talking about Randy Vásquez possibly being your number 1 or number 2 starter this year doesn't mean that the rotation has gotten that bad. That means Randy Vásquez has gotten that good. And from what we've seen, his progression, not just from the spring to now, but from 2024 to 2025 to now where we are, he is progressing like a top of the rotation kind of pitcher. He may never win a Cy Young Award. He may never have the lowest ERA in the league. He may never have the most strikeouts, never have the least amount of walks, but he is becoming one of those solid, reliable pitchers that you can depend upon when it comes to a big game situation. And another thing, I can't really remember any time where he's gotten hurt for an extended period of time too. So he's going to be out there every 5th day to get you 4, 5, 6 innings.
And that's the big thing for this team is, and the big thing with the Padres is they got to have Randy Vásquez be able to pitch like he's pitching. And he's off to a good start. When we come back, we're going to take a deeper look at like the takeaways from the overall opening weekend. We talked a lot about Saturday.
We really do have a lineup out.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
What time is it?
It's 11:30.
What time's the game start today?
6:40.
Are we for real?
We seriously have a lineup out.
I no nonsense with Craig, man. He's just like, this is how we do. New series is start that we got a lineup out. We'll talk about the lineup when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. It is. What time is it?
It is 11:39:46.
What time did we go to break? Like 11:33?
Yes.
What time's the game start tonight?
6:40.
We got a lineup out?
That we does.
That's insane, dude.
And for those of you worrying,
Time for you to watch things.
and for those of you worrying, oh my God, they took the lineup down on Twitter. They flipped the L and the H in Bueller's last name.
Which, by the way,
they're just correcting a mistake.
By the way, here's the thing on this. When you try, when you're trying to get lineups out quickly on these graph and make these graphics, there's going to be typos that happen all the time.
100%.
The people that like criticize the people that make these mistakes and they spell something wrong, you're a different level of bleep. Like, and it's who cares if the guy spelled the name wrong? They went back and they fixed it. It happens.
And I can really relate to that because I do that all the time. I'm always flipping letters around in words all the time.
Yeah. It happens. I do it typing more than writing.
Yes, 100. Yes, absolutely.
Fat fingers trying to get the type fast to get the lineup out. I can't believe we got a lineup out so early.
I know. This is
great.
Unprecedented.
I love this. Thank you, Craig. This is awesome. How many times last season did we have a lineup out during our show when we weren't preempted by the Padres?
We had it a decent amount of times, but it
maybe
was never,
like the 1 o'clock hour
it was never
final
before,
segment.
Yeah, it was never before the 1 o'clock hour, though.
Yeah, we should start promoting that we're the show that releases the Padres lineups because apparently we are.
If you want a Padre lineup, tune in after Ben and Woods because our second segment will probably have it.
I don't want. You know what? I wonder if Tony told Craig, "Hey, man, I can only hear so much bitching from Chris Ello about the lineup being out at a certain time. Can you just get that thing out as quickly as possible?
Can you just do us
a solid?
Please.
I'm going to, you know what? It's Chris Ello's bitching that led to the lineup being out early. Now, hopefully this is a consistent thing. This would be great.
It'd be amazing.
It would be amazing.
This would be so cool.
All right, Padres lineup already out against the Giants. They're locked in. They're ready to go. And since the Padres are facing a right-hander, Jake Cronenworth's going to lead things off for the Padres. He hits leadoff and plays second base. Fernando batting second, playing right field. Manny Machado batting third. Jackson Merrill bats cleanup and is the center fielder. Xander Bogaerts bats fifth, plays shortstop. Gavin Sheets looking for his first hit this season. He will bat sixth, and be the first baseman tonight. Ramon Laureano will bat seventh again. He plays left field. I'm surprised they didn't move him with Sheets, but I guess maybe it's the lefty-righty situation. It's possible.
Possibly. Yeah.
Castellanos is going to DH again against the right-hander. He bats eighth, and Luis Camposano is going to bat ninth. I'd like to see Luis. It'd be nice for Luis to get the bat going a little bit.
It is
at least put the ball in play after the first game.
I want to see them play another lefty because it'd be a very interesting deal that if they do that, they will have a lefty-righty lineup. If they have Cronenworth batting leadoff against righties and then have him batting ninth against lefties, I would want to see if that's the case.
I think they said that was going to be the case. The only difference was it Friday that Camposano played?
Yes.
And on that day was the only other.
Yeah,
the only day that Camposano was the. I'm curious if Fermin's in, he's batting eighth, and if Camposano's in, he's batting ninth. Fermin's batting eighth and Camposano's batting ninth. That might be the only difference. I'd still rather have Camposano bat eighth in that particular situation and then have Cronenworth bat ninth if it was against the left-hander.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have Cronenworth bat leadoff, that's fine. Against righties, you can have him bat leadoff. The reality is, however way you skin it, Cronenworth is going to bat in front of Fernando, it seems like.
That does appear to be the case, yes.
To be more times than not. Now the Friday night it wasn't. He had who was that? Camposano hit in front of him. I think it'd be better for Camposano to bat eighth in those particular situations, and then have Cronenworth bat ninth, and then Tatis bats leadoff against the left-hander if Camposano's catching. Are you surprised that Camposano's catching. I mean, this is like every other day now, which is nice. You keep Fermin fresh. And here's the other thing. Remember last year? I mean, Fermin got pressed into action of being an everyday starter, something he had never done before. Do we think this is Campusano catching pitchers that like throwing to Campusano? Do we think this is preserving Freddie Fermin throughout the year, or do we think this is we want to get Campusano going? There's three different avenues that can explain why Campusano has now started every other game in 4 games. I want to lean more towards like we got to get Campusano going, and we want Fermin to be at full strength later in the season.
What I think is a little bit more interesting is the fact that they are doing this even with a day off, because you were talking catchers rarely ever catch day games after a night game. When you had opening day and then the next night, that was a night game after a day game, which usually you're fine with that. I was more or less expecting Campusano to play one of those 3 games over the weekend. But for him to have another start to open up the series, you're more or less saying he's playing 2 games in this series. So Fermin's only getting one of these games, and you would have to assume it's going to be tomorrow because, again, you're not going to start. You actually have a legitimate day game after a night game situation coming up on Wednesday. So Campy's going to get 2 starts in this series. I don't think Freddie Fermin is a player who needs like a slow build to get ready to go, to get into the flow of being an everyday starter. He doesn't strike me as that kind of player. So I think this is the Padres saying to Campy, listen, we are giving you literally every opportunity that we can right now, and we're doing unorthodox things in order to do so. You got to get going. You have to get going if you want to have a future on this team.
I think it's a little bit of giving Campusano the best opportunity to try to succeed, because this is your last kind of ditch effort to do that. And I also think Freddie Fermin's never been an everyday catcher, and we saw him really, production-wise go downhill when he had to play every single day and not have any rest because you did not have any options. And you also were at a point at the end of the season last year, you were competing for a playoff spot, and you couldn't really take his bat out of the lineup because even him playing poorly, Fermin, was still better option than putting Diaz or even like reactivating Martin Maldonado, late in the year. So I think it's a little bit of those two things more than it is personal catchers at this point in time. It seemed like last year was a little bit more on the personal catcher side of things more than the offense. And this year it seems like it's more on the offensive side of things of, making sure Fermin's healthy and also giving Luis Campusano the best opportunity to be successful. Because here's the thing with like Luis Campusano. I know people give him a bad rap, and he hasn't given you a reason to not do that. But I will say this, and ask Tony about this. Like, it is hard to it's hard to be good at hitting in Major League Baseball if you're not getting consistent at bats. It's almost impossible. That's why a pinch hitter role is so hard to find, because it's hard to stay fresh if you're not seeing pitching and you're not in game situations and you're not getting at bats. It's very difficult to do. And so what you can't do is you can't have Campusano go out there and only play every couple of days, like play once a week. Mm-hmm. You can't have him do that. So I do find it interesting. This is now the second time Campusano has started where Fermin has had rest. Like after the first day, getting a day off already. Interesting. Having Sunday off. And now Campusano starting again today. I also find interesting. So I think it's a way to try to spark the offense and get Campusano going is kind of a big way. And preserving Fermin a little bit as your everyday catcher. So again, lineup today before we get to the sports thread. Cronenworth bats leadoff. Fernando will bat 2. Manny Machado bats 3. Jackson Merrill bats 4. Xander Bogaerts bats 5th. Gavin Sheets bats 6th. Ramon Laureano bats 7th. Nick Castellanos bats 8th. Luis Camposano bats 9th. Walker Buehler getting his first start in a Padres uniform tonight. Game will be on the radio, 97.3 The Fan. Also be on Padres TV, wherever you find the Padres TV broadcast. And tonight's game is nationally televised on Fox Sports 1. So we got a lot of different angles you can watch this game and listen to it as well. But without further ado, it's time to get to today's sports thread. Lots going on in sports, not just the Padres or MLB.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what we got going on today?
All right, we're going to go a blast from the past here.
Number 1.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. The NFL owners are preparing for a potential officiating crisis as negotiations with the NFL Referees Association stall, with both sides reportedly far apart on key issues ahead of the May 31st CBA deadline. The league has already begun recruiting and planning to train replacement officials starting on May 1st, signaling expectations of a possible lockout. Disagreements center on pay, performance-based evaluations, and structural changes to officials' roles, while the NFL pushes for greater accountability measures. With memories of the controversial 2012 replacement referee period still lingering, the situation raises concern about the game's quality and integrity if a deal is not reached soon. How much could the use of replacement referees impact the credibility and outcomes of NFL games if an official's lockout commences?
I mean, they just go get college guys. They just don't have as much experience as the NFL refs do. It's not like they're going to have, they're not going to pull you out of the stands to do the game. They're going to find other refs out there. They're going to give opportunities to guys that just don't have the experience at that level. It's not going to be like a crazy thing. I just think people give a bad rap because of how bad it was that one season where they had the replacement officials and they made some bad calls. I mean, it's part of the deal. The problem is with the much as I like to talk about the officiating and everything like that, eventually you're going to need some of these guys. So you got to you can't talk too bad about them. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to do it.
Yeah. 2012, that seems like yesterday that season. Like, it was so bad for that month.
That was 2012?
It was 2012.
That happened when I was in high school?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It feels like it was just like maybe 7-8 years ago. It does not feel like it was.
Time has paused since COVID, I will say that.
Number 2.
We've been in the same year for the last 6 years.
A new lawsuit filed against DraftKings and FanDuel claims that the sportsbooks use data-driven algorithms and targeted incentives similar to social media platforms to keep users betting and potentially fueling gambling addiction. The complaint alleges companies track users' behavior and push promotions at vulnerable moments, such as after a loss or late at night, leading to one of the plaintiffs wagering over $1.5 million and developing a severe addiction. The case follows a recent jury ruling against Meta and YouTube over addictive features, drawing parallels between industries. While similar lawsuits have struggled in court, this one argues that sportsbooks are intentionally designed in a way that causes real harm, signaling a growing legal and public health debate around legalized sports bettings. Should sportsbooks be held responsible for user addiction if their platforms are designed to maximize engagement, or is it ultimately on the individual?
Well, that's like the whole debate on why gambling was outlawed to begin with. That's why you had rules on all of these things. I mean, the reason why you have rules against vices is because people can't not do some of these things, and then they get addicted. And here's the problem, Frank. You would normally say oh, well, that's that person's problem, until that person's problem becomes other people's problems.
Your problem.
Because that person that is does have the addiction affects a lot of people in their life. And so it's a very sensitive and scary topic, but we should probably be creating less opportunities for addictions.
Yes.
And trying to fight that. And this, like, if you change this vice of betting to anything else, all of a sudden it becomes like, why would you convince anybody to do these things? Like, this isn't crazy. But now with the sports betting, it's like, oh, well, that's their own money. Who cares about that? We got to treat it all the same.
This broke on Thursday, and literally it's the same lawyers that won that Meta YouTube case. Hours later, filed this case against the sports books. Literally hours later.
They're making a ton of money. When we come back, we'll dive back into the Padres baseball. We talked about the lineup, but let's talk about the competitive balance.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on the Fans, brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where the damn tacos at?
There it is, Jeremiah. Thank you very much. Taco time. It's always great. The whole new lunchtime hour, taco time. I had great food this weekend. So much so I need to not eat great food this week in terms of like tasty food. I'd eat Monday tacos from Go Aztecs in the YouTube chat. Yeah, Monday tacos sound great. Last night made a little bit healthier of a meal than I had over the weekend. I did. Did I tell it? Did I say it at Four Corner that I had the new pretzels at Petco Park? Did I mention on the air?
I don't think you did. I saw the picture that you posted on Instagram, but I did not see. I don't remember.
We went to the game on Friday. It is still Lent, so we could not consume meat as Catholics. So we decided to go the pretzel route and try the new pretzels. Now, it worked out because the tickets we had were near that section. And the line was long, but I'm telling you, the Padres rolled through that quick, the pretzel line, because I think they only have it in section 206, if I'm not mistaken. But they have the s'mores pretzel, they have the buffalo pretzel with like the blue cheese crumbles and stuff. Mm-hmm. They have the regular pretzel bites, and then they have the cinnamon bites. Now, my friend wanted to have the cinnamon bite. She likes the cinnamon bite pretzels. Comes like a vanilla icing. So we got that, and we also got the buffalo one. I'm going to tell you right now, that was phenomenal. And here's the other thing, too, with the cinnamon pretzel bites. Do you like cinnamon? Do you like the churro kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's $9.99 for the thing of cinnamon pretzel bites. Yeah,
there looked like there was a mountain of them, yeah.
It is. It's like a mountain of those things. I mean, you're not getting skimped on the cinnamon pretzel bites at Petco Park. The braided buffalo one was good with the blue cheese crumbles. Comes with a side of ranch. It was great. Pretzels were great at Petco Park. That was one of the ones that I wanted to try. I did want to try those carnitas, tots. Those look pretty good. Some other stuff there that looks really appetizing. I want to try throughout the season. You can't get it in. You can't get it into all in the first weekend. You can't try to overdo it. Otherwise, it's too much. Plus, you got to have a classic hot dog at least one of the games.
It's too much, too expensive. By the way, speaking of expensive concessions, did you see what the Dodgers are charging for that Ohtani cup? There's a Shohei Ohtani souvenir cup. Have you seen how much those are?
Yeah, that's insane.
$75. This guy bought 2. He paid $151 for 2 sodas.
Was it refillable if you bring it back?
Yes, it was. That is still no excuse.
How much soda would you have to consume for that to make it worth it?
2 per half inning.
For the whole year?
Yeah.
How much does like a soda actually cost? Like 65 cents?
I don't know how much.
How much does a soda cost? Like 65 cents? For that? I mean,
I have no idea.
It's less than $1. Like when these stadiums buy like the soda in bulk, I mean, you're paying for the cup.
Yeah, and that's
the whole thing costs that's like the biggest money maker for ballparks is like sodas.
That's the other thing. The Dodgers are stupid and disgusting for putting a cup at $75. You are dumber for buying it.
one of the questions in the YouTube chat from Go Essex, does Shohei bring it to you?
No.
If he brought it to you, it might be worth $75. That'd be interesting. $75 for a cup.
You are stupider for buying that.
It's not a bad. I mean, that's where like teams make their money is like the sodas, the souvenir sodas, because it's, I think, what is it, like $20, like a normal one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like $20, like $15 to $20.
Oh,
probably.
for what? A souvenir?
Oh, just a regular souvenir soda.
Yeah, it's like,
I think it's like $20, right?
It's like 15, 20, yeah.
I think it costs them like $1 for the cup, and I think it costs them like 67 cents for the soda. And I mean, your margins on that are huge. I mean, that's why you can offer the free refills all season long, because you're making money off of it for sure. That's what helps fund a lot of the things. I remember like the Padres a while ago when they had somebody they knew that worked for them. Like this is like pre-ownership that they currently have. I mean, the amount of money you can make, they make on some of that stuff to like pay for a lot of these things is on like the souvenir sodas. It's great.
Yeah, Juan's saying it's 15 at Petco.
15. It's a steal. $15. But like the one cup all year is great too, because it's great for the fans. They could like the ones that go all the time, your loyal customers, they're gonna get free soda every time they go. It's a great time. Anyway, $75 for a cup is crazy. I mean, and the thing is they know that a bunch of Shohei fans are gonna buy it. It's not even that cool of a cup.
No, it's like, not. It's just, it looks like his jersey with the numbers popped out. Like that's all it is.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? People can spend their money however they want. You could justify it for however you want, but yeah, exactly. Imagine leaving that cup behind at your seat. You can go on. You could, you know what? If you find one of those in a
it's Los Angeles. So I wouldn't put it past anyone.
If you find one of those at Dodger Stadium, you got to grab that thing and sell it for $50.
Yeah, that's your Willy Wonka golden.
You can make a profit off that and give it to and somebody can get it on for a steal on eBay. I mean, that's crazy. Ohtani cup. Is there any cup that you would buy for $75? I would buy.
No.
I would buy the Holy Grail for $75. That's about it. Even then, it would be kind of pushing it. Do I really want to live forever? Do I really want to do that?
If I got like a collector's cup signed by all 5 members of Aerosmith or all 4 members of Queen, including Freddie Mercury, then yes, I would pay that much money. But no, other than that, no.
$75 by max for the Holy Grail. And then after that, if it's $80, I have to contemplate whether or not I want to live forever. I mean, at that point, that's what kind of that is.
Speaking of Queen, who wants to live forever?
Nobody. Some people might, but I
put that thing on a leash.
All right. Big picture for the Padres in terms of their opening weekend. There was some good, there was some bad, there was some maybe concerning, but as we talked about it with Dave Flemming earlier in the show, and if you missed it, go back, watch the interview, listen to the interview. If you go back and watch, the one thing that, like Dave said about the Giants are off to an awful start. The big takeaway is it's 3 games. I mean, if this happens in the middle of the season, nobody cares, right? So you could say that about the losses. You could also say it about the win that the Padres had on Saturday. They go 1-2. They faced elite arms in Tarek Skubal and Framber Valdez. The offense only scored 7 runs in 3 games, but internally, as reported by AJ Cassaville and a lot of the writers of the Padres' message is we are talking about the process over the results right now. And this is the time of the year you want the process over the results. I don't want to hear process over the results in the last month of the season. I really don't. Because at that point, you're going to run out of time to get the results of the process. Right now, through the first month of the season is the process of the results. It's experimenting with lineups, which, by the way, we got in the 11 o'clock hour for today's game. That's amazing. We love that. Love getting a lineup out that early. But I will say this. Now, let's talk about the offense first. We've talked a lot about the pitching. We had someone was listening on the radio, jump onto our YouTube to say that the pitching's not a problem. It's always been the hitting for the Padres. They have to hit better. Their offense was bad. I don't know about that. I don't think the Padres offense was bad. I do think it is better than what it looked like over the first couple of days because of the quality at bats and because of
there were some situational questions, but
I think the quality at bats and I think the offense in terms of like all of the metrics that we talk about, I know they didn't get the results, but it leans to it's going to break through. And I think you saw that against Jack Flaherty on Saturday. But the approach stayed consistent versus the elite pitching. They finally broke through against Jack Flaherty. They ran pitch counts up. They forced him out early. I mean, that's the recipe for success. That was not the game plan for the Padres against Skubal or Valdez, though. They still stuck to their game plan. I don't think it was that bad of an offensive weekend, but you had a tough matchup to start the year. Try to jump on the fastball early. I think a lot of the Padres did, but it's hard to get hits against those guys. Not to use that as an excuse, but later on in the season, they're going to have to learn how to beat players like that, especially when it comes to October. I thought the bottom of the order is the difference maker. I think the upgrade from the bottom of the order is massive for depth issues, not just the stars carrying the lineup anymore, but you actually got some production over the weekend in some of these guys in the middle to bottom of the order. Mostly the bottom of the order. You didn't get it on opening day, but you started to get it on Friday and Saturday. And a big key for that, Frank, was Ramon Laureano batting seventh. He was great down there.
He was fantastic.
That's what lengthening a lineup does by having a guy like Ramon Laureano bat seventh. Now, they have to get the number 6 spot going. The Ty France, Gavin Sheets kind of platoon needs to be way better. And in fact, just like at least get a hit at this point in time. But Ramon Laureano, as we go there, the bottom flipping it back over to the top is a big difference maker because a couple of times you either had Ramon Laureano hitting in the 7 spot or you had Jake Cronenworth flipping it back to the top of the order as the number 8 or 9 guy in the batting lineup. I like that for the future of this team moving forward, especially how Ramon Laureano really jumped off to a start to the season that he had last year with Baltimore before coming here to San Diego. And to be honest with you, he was 3 for 4 on Saturday. That one out that he had could have been a home run.
Yeah, it was to the wall.
It was to the wall. It was, I don't know if it was out or not. I don't know if it was enough to say that he was robbed of a home run, but he hit that thing opposite field almost out of Petco Park. And over the weekend, he hit 417 with 1167 OPS, power, and consistent contact. He's squaring everything up right now. And he got robbed multiple times. Otherwise, he'd be hitting even higher of a batting average and an OPS. I mean, Ramon Laureano, and this is his last year in a Padres uniform, but he is a steal right now for this Padres lineup, especially since he's batting 7th in the order, and he's batting 7th again tonight. I can't imagine, as good as it is to have him near the bottom of the order, he continues to hit like this. You cannot bat him 7th anymore.
No, absolutely not. And we're seeing another guy who's also hitting very, very well. He's just not getting lucky is Xander Bogaerts. We talked about this after opening day. He had a fantastic opening day, hitting the ball hard, did not have one hit under 100 miles an hour. On Friday and Saturday, he kept that up. He had a couple of nubbers. I think it was the ground ball that he hit in the second inning was the first time he had not hit on Friday. Was the first time he had not hit a ball out of the infield. He's another guy who, once again, just like he was doing last year, hitting the ball very, very hard, unfortunately just hitting it right at people. And that is, again, people are going to look at it as a problem. Oh, he's only hitting 182 right now, what he's hitting. That's not indicative of the games that he has had. He is hitting the ball very, very well. It's, again, the same situation as last year. It's just not finding grass.
Who'd you say is in 182?
Xander.
I thought he was in like 2 something.
Oh, it might have been Merrill that I saw, because Merrill's right up. Oh yeah, he's hitting 250.
Yeah, he's hitting 250. I mean, even
Merrill's hitting $182, is hitting right above him. That's why.
Even the 0 for 4 that Xander had on Saturday, where he's lacing the ball. the 0 for 4 knocked him down to 250. That's how great of a start to the season that Xander had on opening day. And I mean, I'd be worried if Xander was like getting bloop hits, but he's squaring up the baseball. He's hitting right at people. He's not getting the luck that you would need. That's why this is like the whole conversation about the advanced metrics, right?
Yeah, he had a lot.
I can use my eye test, and we could sit here about the eye test, and we could talk about results. But when results aren't there, you use these analytics to see, all right, what's really going on here? Is there a reason to be concerned because of how volatile baseball is? And then those metrics are showing that Xander's getting very unlucky to start the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And he hit a ball, I think it was right at Colt Keith on Saturday, 104 miles an hour. Just hit it right at him. That is enough for a base hit, just unfortunately right at him. So he is hitting the ball very, very well, seeing the ball well, and is just, again, just like last year, not getting the luck.
So we talked about Ramon Laureano. We've talked about some of the strategy. I mean, we're just talking about the biggest takeaways of this weekend for the San Diego Padres. And again, like Laureano's batting 7th again tonight. He goes 3 for 4 again tonight. You have to bat him near the top of the order. I mean, it's just you have to find a spot for him up there, and you got to start moving like Gavin Sheets down. And I don't want to like put that into the ether yet, but the more that Gavin Sheets struggles, like, yes, he has a little bit longer of a leash, I think other players have, but with Sungmin Sung coming back, guys like Gavin Sheets, like, he's still kind of competing to be on this team. Like, I know he did a lot last year, but the Padres are in a position they can't necessarily keep anybody around that's not hitting just to keep them around, aside from like the stars who you've invested a lot of money in. That position between Gavin Sheets and Ty France needs to start kind of producing, at least start getting some hits. I don't know. It's 3 games. Okay. So he's going to have some time. They're going to give him a little bit of a leash, but they really got to get Gavin Sheets going to really let this offense start to pop.
Now, Sheets played on opening day and Saturday, correct? He was off on Friday.
He was off on Friday, and his spot was filled with Ty France, who went 0 for.
Yeah, you have
that spot has been 0 for the entire week.
You have Ty France going 0 for. You also have, I believe, Miguel Andujar might only have 1 hit.
He it drove on the run.
Yes, it did. Nick Castellanos, I believe, only has 1 hit as well.
He should have got it. I mean, he was close to a home run the other day.
So that whole 4-way battle right now is not going the way anyone had expected it to. We thought the lineup was going to be able to rotate. Those guys would be able to get some sort of production. And right now you've got about 2 hits out of it. Gavin Sheets is over on the year. That's not great. Not a great start.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the lineup strategy for the San Diego Padres. Is it smart? Are they overthinking the lefty-righty matchup? We'll talk about the bullpen decisions that have been process versus winning now. And of course, the roster decision about Jason Adam and not being on the team to start the year because of him trying to get him back up to speed. Maybe that have changed some things on in terms of the week. We'll talk about Jason Adams' impact on this roster when we come back as well. The Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. I don't want to do it to this guy. I got to say, and the people that are OG Braden Surprenant Show fans will know this. You ready for this? This is a deep cut right here.
Uh-oh.
You guys remember my buddy who almost had to be banned to go to Petco Park because of all the L's he would rack up?
Oh, no.
So that was 2 years ago, right? He was like 0 and he was like 0 and 10. I think he finished the season like 1 something.
Oh boy.
Remember that? That was 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep cut. Nate knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Last year, bounce back year. You know what? Bounce back year, baby. Bounce back year. Last year, he was like 12 and 2 on a heater. So this weekend, went to opening day, right? We were there, opening day. I stayed down to this weekend. Me and my friend, not that one, went to 2 games, and my buddies were kind of hit and miss, right? So we all went to the game Thursday. Rough. We all went to the game Friday. Rough. And then, well, not everybody. Some of us didn't, right? Okay. And then Saturday, most of us went to the game except for one person.
Oh, no.
So Buddy's 0-2. Okay? Buddy's 0-2. I had to, it's a tough start to the year. And here's the deal. Guess who's going to the game tonight? We're not going to say his name. People in the YouTube chat might know. We must protect this man because last year he was on a nice little heater. But he started 0-2 today. This year. No. Sorry. And he's going to the game tonight. Key to the game tonight is that. We'll see if it plays out or not. I'm just, you know what? Things are not looking like he's going to the game. Giants looking for their first win. I'm just saying. I'm just the guy asking questions, Frank. You know this. I'm a guy that likes to ask questions. I ask a lot of questions. A lot of them, yeah, that's right. So I'm just, what do you think about this? I honestly, I'm going to go with the Dave Flemming route. It's too close to call. It's too early in the season. I think it's kind of a fluke right now. I think it's hard to go to the 2 games that Framber, Valdez, and Tarek Skubal were pitching in. And that, it's early. It's early. What did I also say going into this weekend, Frank? What did I say?
Going to go 1-2. Padres
are going to go 1-2. They're going to lose their first 2, and they're going to win on Saturday because of Randy Vásquez. I said it. Right, but too early. I think he flips the switch tonight. I think he does. Bullpen, the bullpen for the Giants isn't very good. But I tell you what, this is an interesting night for Walker Buehler that we're going to get to. It's a very interesting night for Walker Buehler because he's going against a lineup that has been awful to start the season. And I almost will guarantee this. I'm going to say it right. Luis Arias is going to get 4 hits tonight. I'm just going to say that right now. I've seen this episode before. He's going to get 4 hits. I'm going to get a phone call from Braden Escondido. He's going to be like, I wish you probably had those hits, right? I don't see first baseman getting any hits for the Padres right now.
He's a second baseman.
He was a first base. He'd be a first baseman for us, though. So that's going to be the comparison. You know what? Bobby Witt Jr., I don't need the flack of like what position Luis Arias plays. Where do the Kansas City Chiefs play? Exactly. Where do the Chiefs play, dude? Frank's going to be right, but too early on that one. When they move to Kansas.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We had a phone call during the break about why haven't you talked about Luis Campusano yet? What do you want me to talk about with him? I think Luis Campusano is such an interesting topic of conversation for Padres fans because he was promised to be something very good. He hasn't really been that guy. I mean, a couple of times he shined. In 2020, when he made his debut, he had a home run his debut. I think that excited a lot of Padres fans. A couple of years ago, he was the backup catcher. I think that was 2023. He hit 317. Didn't play in a lot of games, but he hit 317. That was very promising when he was 24 years old. He hasn't been good since then, but here's my evaluation of Luis Campusano. He needs to be better than when he did the first day, which again, it was 3 at-bats, and he was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Ty France was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Gavin Sheets still looking for his first hit. It's early. You can't get overly concerned about this. It's a conversation that is interesting to pay attention to, but I think Gavin Sheets is going to be able to get a knock tonight. I think he's going to flip it around. I can't imagine he's being on that long of a streak. But what do you want me to say about Luis Campusano? He's a backup catcher. He's there to be a backup catcher. He's there to fill in for Freddie Fermin. If Luis Campusano was your everyday catcher, yeah, we'd have a serious problem on our hands. He's the backup. You need him to hit it like 220. That's what you need. You need to hit like 220. He didn't have a lot of at-bats in the year last. How many at-bats did he have last year? Like 25?
I don't even think that. I think he had like 12.
He didn't have that many. Yeah, it's like, oh, he was 0 for in 2025. If he had 100 at-bats, he was 0 for 100, I'd be like, yeah, that's obviously really concerning. But he had like what? Like, how many at-bats did he have last year?
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on.
It's just like, do you have to hate somebody on the team? There's no reason to like hate on Luis Campusano. Is he off to a great start? No, he had 3 at-bats.
He had 21 with 6 walks and 11 strikeouts.
How many at-bats?
21.
21. We're complaining about 21 at-bats?
6 walks, 11 Ks.
That's like a bad week for a starter. He didn't get to play in the field. He was DH every single time, right? He didn't get to catch once. Worked 4 walks, struck out 11 times, had 21 at-bats. I mean, are you kidding me?
6 walks.
6 walks. He walked 6 times. Luis Campusano. He played in, how many games he played in? 10. We're talking about a guy that played in 10 games as a DH that didn't get to start back-to-back days, who worked 6 walks and struck out 11 times, and we're acting like it's the end of the world. He hit well in AAA. I think a lot of people wanted him to be really good. He has to be better than what he has done so far this season, which, again, is only 3 at-bats. But I tell you what, with Luis Campusano, I would be more concerned, and it'd be worth talking about if he was the starter. He's not the starting He's not the starting catcher. Anybody want to give credit to Luis Campusano for stealing 2 strikes back on the ABS and throwing out a runner? That's what he's on the team to do, to back up Fermin and do those things. I don't know what you want me to say about him. Who are you going to go get that's going to be a backup catcher that's going to give you better production than that? Look at the last couple of years for the Padres. And look what the backup catcher did in terms of their WAR and their OPS plus. It's like an average player. You just need Luis Campusano to be an average player. I think he's able to do that. And I think the Padres are setting him up to get more consistent at-bats to potentially be an average player. But to sit there and be like, why aren't you talking about Luis? What do you want me to talk about?
Something, jettison to the moon, something.
Every single time, it's like, all right, we don't want this guy on the team anymore. Fine. Who are you going to bring in?
Exactly.
Who are you going to bring in that's going to be better? He's a backup catcher. I would still rather watch Luis Campusano.
Bless you. Isn't that kind of like...
I'd rather watch him than watch Martín Maldonado swing a bat.
Isn't that kind of the thing that we, like, haven't we put out a rule on that? Like, if you're going to identify a problem, you have to give a solution. You can't just sit there and identify the problem.
Yeah, I need solution, guys. We know problems, all right? Yeah, having your backup catcher go for 3 strikeouts is not great. Gavin Sheets not getting a hit yet is not great. I mean, you got to let him roll it out a little bit more. You need Ty France to be able to produce. He's only had 3 at-bats. I mean, it's only been 3 games.
And realistic solution, too, by the way.
Correct. The guys that get to play every day get better you get better with that bat. You need game reps. This is a sport where you need game reps and you need opportunities. I think the Padres was starting him every other day now for the first 4 games. He's been given an opportunity. You got to give Campusano a month. And then after a month, if he still doesn't have a hit or like is just not hitting above 200, you could start looking to potentially find a solution to be the backup catcher, but it's hard to find a backup catcher.
And again, you can see what the team is doing right now. They are force-feeding him opportunities. Because again, he's going to play twice this series. He's going to play either tonight and tomorrow or tonight and Wednesday. He's playing twice.
Is he catching Pivetta? I don't think he's catching Pivetta.
I don't know.
Wasn't Pivetta like super? Didn't he like throwing to Fermin over throwing to?
I genuinely
Campusano? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't remember hearing it.
That's why I think it's interesting that that Campusano's starting tonight and they're not going Fermin tonight and then Wednesday instead. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, why aren't you talking about Campusano? There's nothing to talk about. He's a backup catcher. It's like, what else? You might root for him to have success. He's only going to play a handful of games this year and fill in to give Fermin a break. That's what he's on the team for. And you know what? He did well defensively. I mean, this day and age where you don't even have to like pitch frame anymore. Throw somebody out. Tap the top of your head. That's what he's here to do. There's nothing more to talk about this. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. When we come back, we need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. If you could take me down in trivia, you will be qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau Las Vegas, and a $150 resort credit. March is here, and Fontainebleau Las Vegas is the place to catch every game. High-energy watch parties with expansive screens, great food and drinks, exclusive room rates, plus the pools and day club are open. Book your stay today at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. Now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will play the game when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Settings Urban Sports Station 97.3 The Fan.
Quinn and Chris.
As Pittsburgh prepares to welcome the nation to the unofficial beginning of football season, the city's kickoff celebration will begin with an unforgettable invite-only night of music. Go to odyssey.com/the-night before to enter for a chance to win a trip to see Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Prophet. This is a national contest. All right. Sounds good. When you said that was on the sheet, I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. And then now that I've analyzed it, I've started to put two and two together of what exactly that is. But it's a national contest. Go to odyssey.com to check it out. Speaking of contests, we're going to get to ours in just a second. Ours is a chance to qualify for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 resort credit. March is here, and Fontainebleau, Las Vegas is the place to catch every game. High-energy watch parties with expansive screens, great food and drinks, exclusive room rates, plus the pools and day club are open. Book your stay today at FontainebleauLasVegas.com now. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We are the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. If you haven't done so already, and we're getting close, we're getting there. I got to go double check to see where we're at. It would be awesome if you guys could take a little bit of time to get us. We are 110 away, Frank.
That's not bad, because
away.
when we really started plugging this, you were at like what, 400, like just barely.
I think when we first started,
like really plugging away
before we started adding more content and everything like that. I think you're right. We're like 400 now, doubled that. We're up to 890 subscribers on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@B_SURP. Hit subscribe when you go onto that page. It helps us out tremendously. We're recording more videos again today. If you become a member, we do post those videos before anybody else. We're going to have a members only broadcast coming up here for people that are members. We're trying to build up some more members in order to do that. But
we are doing that.
Yeah, we are. We have to. I mean, it's part of the membership.
Well, no, that's fair.
We got to get more members. We got to get more members before we do it. I mean, we don't have enough.
I was going to say, no, that's fair, and I was expecting it. I just didn't realize we had one planned already.
We were supposed to do one in March, but we didn't have enough members yet. We got to get more members to be able to do that. Now, subscribing to our YouTube page is free to do. It's great. If you want to look at the memberships and some of the perks of that, we appreciate you. Anybody that does that, it's great. But we are looking for more subscribers. We want to get to 1,000 on the page. At least during the baseball. We're close. We're 110 away. Go to youtube.com/@B_SURP. It's very simple at the top of the page. There's a button, hit subscribe. It's free to do. Plus, you can get our content right there when you log on to YouTube. It's super easy. It's easy to find the show. We appreciate you guys helping us out with that. We are going to be we're going to be doing some gear. There's going to be some swag here.
Clay, you do not need a members only jacket.
We should offer.
We should offer one, but you don't need it.
The problem with the members only, like I got to pay for the member stuff and then it's just,
you don't have to.
Those are expensive. I want to keep things cheap.
There's no extra meetings that you have to worry about. Like I know Sam's Club and Costco, they have extra meetings that you have to go to. We're not that kind of membership.
So we broadcast live every day on the 97 Through the Fan YouTube page. We also do it on the Braden Surprenant Show page. If you go and you're watching on the 97 Through the Fan page, you don't know what we're talking about. If you go on 97 Through the Fan on their YouTube page, youtube.com/@97 Through the Fan, the first thing on the thing, it says our shows. Ben and Woods is on there. If you haven't subscribed to Ben and Woods yet, hit the subscribe button. Our show is on there. There's a subscribe button underneath. If you don't see a subscribe button, that means you are already subscribed to our show. Gwen and Chris is on there. Sam Levitt's on there. Matt Scraby's on there. Trying to boost the subscriptions for all of our shows that produce extra content aside from our 4-hour talk shows. So if you like what we're doing, if you want more Padres content, if you want to hear our takes on other sports too, we do that on YouTube because we're mostly in a Padres mode now from the hours of 10 to 2. So we appreciate you guys doing that. Thanks again. If you want to help us out, again, youtube.com/@973 The Fan. On there, you can find us. You can also go to youtube.com/ at B_SURP. Thanks again to all of you that have starting to do that. We're up to 896 now. Come on. 4 more, we're up to 900. It'd be great for you guys to do that. It takes 2 seconds. Plus, when you want to tune into our shows, you will get notified when we upload new stuff. You will also be able to find us easily because your subscriptions on YouTube, it's a kind of a way to like bookmark pages, so you don't have to go look for their content. You don't have to search. I do know, because we get the analytics back, a lot of you still have to like search in the browser to find our show. But you can find us a lot easier doing it that way. So we appreciate that. As of right now, it is time, though, to get to our game that we play each and every day. It's the Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, we got playing today.
We have Ray in San Diego playing today. Ray, how you doing today, bud?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Of course. All right, so today, over the weekend, late last week or over the weekend, we had People Magazine put out their top 10 or their rankings of every major league ballpark in the country. Petco Park, very proudly, was number 1.
As they should.
Who was the
wow.
Who were the rest of the top 10? You don't have to know the ballpark name, you can just say the team. But who were 2 through 10 in People Magazine, or USA Today's ballpark rankings? Ray, you have the first guess.
Oh, well, being from Chicago and Wrigley Field, so Wrigley Field, number 2.
Wrigley Field is on the list. Unfortunately, it is not number 2. It is number 4. So, Ray, you're on the board.
All right, so we know Petco's number 1.
We know Petco's number 1. Cubbies are number 2. Cubbies are number 4.
Wrigley. Let's go with the PNC. They always get picked very high.
Pirates are number 3. PNC
Really?
Park. Yes. Ray.
Fenway Park.
Fenway Park is on the list. They are number 6 on the list.
Let's go with Oracle, where the Giants play.
Oracle gets number 2. So the Giants are number 2. Right?
Yeah, I'll go with, you took my answer. There's so many ballparks, but I'll go with Angels.
Oh, no.
No, unfortunately not, Ray. That is going to be strike 1.
That's got to be the worst. I mean, Ray's just throwing out a guess there. I mean, Angel Stadium's got to be the worst. Are they the worst? They got to be the worst.
No,
I know
not.
that was a bad answer.
Oh, man, Ray. You know what? I'm going to have a bad answer coming up here in a second.
That's what happens when you turn 72, you know?
Oh, geez.
Don't get can't get Ray going on pizza either.
No.
With the deep dish versus your New York style in a second. Let's go with T-Mobile Park in Seattle.
Seattle is number 8.
Really?
Yes. Ray still can win this one.
Okay. The Yankees.
No, Yankee Stadium. Again, this is not my list. This is USA Today's list.
Wow.
Yankee Stadium is not on there.
I went to Yankee Stadium. It's okay. I feel like, I mean, Busch number 3 seems kind of nice. I've never been there. My parents went, and my brother, they said it was cool. Let's go with Busch Stadium.
One of our listeners is actually there today.
I know, I saw
Sent us
that.
a picture on Twitter.
Shout out to OTL. What was it, Peroni?
Unfortunately,
They're not on there.
they are not on the list. So, Ray, still in with a shout
Hey.
here.
How about Progressive, where I was at for the World Series.
Cleveland.
No, Ray, I'm sorry. That is strike 3. So unfortunately, that will do it.
All right, I still want to guess, though.
Yes.
So we have Petco number 1, Oracle number 2, PNC 3, Wrigley 4, Fenway 6, T-Mobile 8, Coors Field. I love Coors Field. I'd have Coors Field in my top 5.
Coors Field is number 5.
Okay. What are some other cool ballparks that are out there? There were some that I
7,
liked
9,
that I
and
don't
10.
think anybody else liked. It's got to be like newer ones. What about Camden Yachts? Yeah,
They
say it
are
like
number 10.
that. Wow. Camden.
We're looking for 7 and 9.
Okay, since we have already had the contest over, league, not division, league.
1 in each.
Okay, that doesn't really help me at all. City Field on there? Wow.
Number 9.
Have you been to City Field?
I have been to City Field.
Is it
I
cool?
love it, yes.
All right, so now we're looking for the American League one. I feel like it's not Globe Life. I don't think it is Globe Life.
It is not Globe Life.
Is it the old juice box? Daikin? No, it's not Daikin Field. All right, so it's not the American League West. What about the Rogers Center?
Central.
American League Central.
All the well-known
teams
and ballparks.
Target Field? Target Field.
Yes.
Wow.
So again, according to USA Today, the top 10 ballparks going into 2026: Petco Park, PNC Park, Oracle Park. Sorry, PNC Park, Wrigley Field, Coors Field, Fenway Park, Target Field, T-Mobile, City Field, and Camden.
And Camden Yards.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Petco, obviously. I've been to Oracle. It's cool. I haven't been to PNC. I want to. I've been to Wrigley. I've been to Coors. I'm going to Fenway this weekend. And that's it. I would love to go to T-Mobile Park. I heard T-Mobile Park is sick. I have to go to PNC. Everybody says that the beautiful backdrop. And that's honestly the only ballpark that competes with Petco on this thing every year is PNC, and it's based on the skyline.
Yes.
And the Roberto Clemente Bridge.
And also, I mean, Seattle holds a very unique count there, is that they actually hosted WrestleMania. WrestleMania 19 was at that point Safeco Field.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, some of these are cool. I heard Target Field was cool too. In college, some of my classmates went when they went to TCU played Minnesota. They got to go to T-Mobile Field the night before. They said it was awesome. When we come back in the 1 o'clock hour, preview a little bit of the series between the Padres and the Giants, and path to the NL West very clear. 1 o'clock. Can't believe it's already 1 o'clock. Braden Surprenant Show, setting someone sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to us today, talking Padres baseball from over the weekend and getting ready now to start to flip it into Padres and Giants coming up this week. This is an important week for the Padres because of a couple of things. One, it's important to win division games. And two, be nice to get a little momentum before you start your first road trip of the year. On top of the fact that the Giants come in 0-3, have only scored one run against the Yankees, and you got to take advantage of that. You have to kick this team when they're down, especially if they are a team that is competing with you for a playoff spot. This has to be done. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to take 2 out of 3 against the Giants here early and just kick them while they're down. And hopefully it spirals them. I mean, what did that do to the Braves last year, Frank? Braves had a rough start to the year, and it's continued to spiral out of control.
Mm-hmm. They also had a lot of injury issues too last year, and they're having the same this year too.
They did, but it's something about the momentum at the beginning part of the season, right? Something about the momentum at the beginning part of the season.
Right, yeah.
Get the behind the 8 ball early. Give yourself a lead in the division over a team like the Giants. Like, I know everybody wants to win the division. We've talked about that year in and year out. It'd be nice to win. At the end of the day, it doesn't guarantee you anything. You get to fly a banner, but at the end of the day, you want to be a World Series champion or anything else. And so the first task is to make the playoffs. And for me, the best way for the Padres to make the playoffs is through the wild card. You have to achieve that first before you even think about the division, especially after the Dodgers were able to come back against the Diamondbacks every single time this weekend. You're not competing with the Dodgers. You were competing with the Diamondbacks. You're competing with the Giants. And that's who's in your division that you're competing with.
We are now, I can confirm, as I'm continuing to just work away here and pay next to no attention to you.
That sounds like every day.
We are now at 901 subscribers.
Nice.
So we have less than 100 to go.
99 away. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, at @B_SURP, youtube.com/@B_SURP. Again, doesn't cost you anything. Leads to our content. We're going to have a bunch of content being posted today. It's going to be posted today for members only first, and then it will slowly start to release throughout the week. A lot of different stuff about the NFL, college basketball, all this stuff that we're going to get to after the show. We do extra content on our YouTube page. On top of the fact that you can watch our show live on YouTube at the Braden Surprenant Show page, youtube.com/@B_SURP. We are broadcasting live for the Bill House Studios. We know how here in the 1 o'clock hour. Again, when talking about the Giants coming in, we're going to talk more about them later on in this particular hour. We talked to Dave Flemming about it when in the 11 o'clock hour. If you missed that interview, it gives you a great preview of what to expect from the Giants these next 3 days. And Dave was great. But you look at the Giants and where they're at right now. The offense hasn't been able to click yet. They're off to a rough start. But here's the deal. Do you know? Well, you should know, Frank. Do you know the Giants play after this?
If I should know, it's probably the New York Mets.
They got the Mets at home on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A 4-game series against the Mets. The Mets are expected to be in contention for a playoff spot this year. Correct? Yes, I would say so.
Are.
Even pessimistic Frank, who hates this team more than anybody else, thinks the Mets are a playoff caliber team. And then they got Philly. You know, Philly loses 2 out of 3 to Texas over the weekend, but Philly's a team that's going to be tough. So if the Padres could take 2 out of 3 against the Giants before they go through the Mets and the Phillies, and then the Giants got to fly to the East Coast, they got Baltimore. Cincinnati's no joke at this part in the season. They got Washington, and then they got the Dodgers, Miami, and Philadelphia one more time. That's a tough month of April for the Giants, which leads to why it's even more important to try to take 2 out of 3 or even sweep San Francisco early in the season and continue, by the way, to own this franchise who you've owned for the last couple of years. And they know it too. I saw that yesterday as we get closer to first pitch tonight. For some reason, I had some Giants accounts starting to populate on my social media page. They're like, oh man, we got to go down there and really just reset the season and win at a place that we have not been able to win at. I mean, Giants fans know. Padres have owned the Giants in the last handful of years. You have now passed them in terms of the pecking order, the totem pole, whatever you may say in terms of hierarchy in the National League West division. You have replaced them. The Padres have replaced the Giants. Yeah, it was fun. It was Giants and Dodgers rivalry, and I know a lot of people are going to be, tuned to that. And like, oh, we both started in New York and all this other stuff. And they're like, oh, we get geared up for the Giants more than we get geared up for the Padres. Yada, 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 yada. Yeah, I know. We've heard this nonsense. The Padres are a bigger threat to the Dodgers. They have passed the Giants, and what you cannot do is allow the Giants to get back to that spot. You must leave them in the rearview mirror. Do not let them get back into relevance here in the National League West. The fact that they started 0-3 against the Yankees, great news for the Padres, putting those guys in last place. Leave them in last place. Because you know why? Let the Rockies not be in last for a couple of, weeks.
For no other reason.
Help Thinger out a little
Rockies
bit. Right?
Be nice.
It's kind of fun to have the Giants in last place. I find enjoyment in seeing and when I pull up the standings, do I find enjoyment in the fact that the Padres are in second with a losing record? No, I do not. But you know what makes me happy? Seeing the San Francisco Giants in dead last. Because guess what? They're 0-3 with the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. And when you're all tied, it goes in alphabetical order. So the Giants are in last. They're at dead last. 0-3, 1 run scored, 13 runs against. They have not been great. Continue to kick them while they're down.
And
do not. You know what they need to do? Before we let Frank jump in on this, it needs to be the meme where it's like the little guy with the Padres logo on his chest, like going down to reach down to the Giants guy, just got his ass kicked by the Yankees to like help him up. And then they go to the Giants guy, he looks up like, oh, thank you. And then the Padres guy flips him and RKOs him on the other side while everybody else claps. That's what we need this week. We need that meme to happen.
And again, just to go back to how well the Padres have done against the Giants. Last year, the Padres went 10-3, scoring 95 runs against the Rockies. They went 10-3 against the Giants last year, and they scored the second most runs against the Giants that they scored against any other opponent all season long. They scored 67 runs, allowing 31. So this Padre team has been dominant against the Giants, and the Giants didn't really get too much better. They have good players. Matt Chapman's perennially good. Willie Adames, you add Luis Ariz to that. And of course, Rafael Devers is going to be a problem. They haven't really gotten all that much better from where they were. So this is a team that you should be able to handle. And going back to the kick them while they're down, that's what good teams do. They take advantage of other teams when they're at their weakest point. That is what you have to do. You have to go at least 2-1 in this 3-game set.
Don't let them get hot. You cannot afford to let the Giants. Don't let them get hot. Because you don't want to be battling your way up the whole time. Look, the Padres played a really good team in Detroit last week. The Tigers are expected to win their division. The Tigers are expected to be a competitor for the American League in general. I mean, and they had to deal with Kevin McGonigal, who is who made his major league debut. They have two of the best starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. Of course, you had to face the 1 and 2 since the beginning of the season. I mean, Padres faced some good competition. It's not like they went out there and beat up on the Rockies like the Marlins did, sitting in first place at 3-0. Right? I mean, you could be 1 and 2 right now, and you're 1 and 2 because the Nationals beat you 2 out of 3 at home. Go talk to the Cubs about that, right? I mean, it could be worse at this point in time. They played a good team. Diamondbacks got swept by the Dodgers. That's somewhat expected. Rockies got swept by the Marlins. Not that expected. Not really. That's kind of surprising. And the Giants, I mean, that's a good Yankees team. That's not a bet. I don't think the Yankees are better than the Tigers. I really don't. But they scored 1 run over the weekend. And here's the other thing, too. We talked with Dave Flemming in the 11 o'clock hour about this. He's the play-by-play man for the Giants. He said, like, the last week or so of spring training, the offense really just went into the you know what. And that's from, like, their everyday guys. And you could talk about it as much as you want. Oh, it's spring training. The results don't matter. But it didn't sound like they were hitting their stride right before the beginning of the season, which means a couple of things. 1, you're catching them at the right time. And 2, they're due to flip it around on you. So it's a division game. You have, a lot of familiarity there with these players. And you're throwing Walker Buehler and Germán Marquez. These are 2 guys that have played in the division for a long time. Walker Buehler has had some success against the Giants, too. Now, he's a little bit different of a pitcher now than he was before. But you need to let Walker Buehler establish himself early, hopefully go unscathed in the first inning, really settle in where he can work his pitch mix. I'd like to see the sinker a lot tonight out of Walker Buehler, get some more ground balls. But this is a team you could totally beat. They haven't scored a lot of runs. Doesn't mean they're incapable of doing so. But this is a Giants team that has 1 run in 3 games. They got outscored 13-1 against the Yankees over the weekend. You can't let them get confidence early in the contest tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit of a battle.
And this also wasn't for the Giants. You're getting 2 pitchers that have not pitched yet, but they're not going to be in the order that you would expect them to be in. Logan Webb, who you would expect to pitch in this series, he's pitching Tuesday. He's pitching tomorrow. He's not pitching the finale of the series, which would be his turn in the rotation. That's going to go to Adrian Hauser. Because of all those off
days that they had.
Yeah, that's going to go to Adrian Hauser. So you're also getting a little bit of a different look out of them as far as their rotation and how they're working on stuff because they've had so many wacky days off at this topsy-turvy start to the season for them.
I want to talk more about the division and the importance of winning these division games with the Padres when we come back. I will also let you know what Walker Buehler has done in the past against the Giants in his career. We'll continue that conversation as we move to our next segment of the Braden Surprenant Show. Stadium Sports Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. August, join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. We just had our interview with Dave Flemming posted on our website. So if you missed any of the Dave Flemming interviews, the radio broadcaster of the San Francisco Giants, does some TV too every once in a while. He gave us a preview of what to expect with the Giants series this week. It was very good stuff about the Giants being off to a rough start. They're very similar to the Padres in terms of their storylines. They have a brand new manager, one that has never managed before at the major league level. He was a head coach at the University of Tennessee, Tony Vitello. So that's an interesting conversation for the Giants. I mean, that's a big national news story as well, because it's, can a guy that has never managed at the big league level, and come from college and just take over the Giants? Well, you know what? Craig Stammen's never managed either. So it's very similar in that sense. The other similarities, they don't have a lot of pitching depth right now in terms of the starting rotation. They have a lot of question marks in that starting rotation, according to Dave Flemming. That sounds like a team I know. They got some stars at the offense. They struggled a little bit over the first weekend, but very similar storylines for the Padres this season and the Giants this season. So it should be a good one at Petco Park. Starting tonight, 6:40. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show is at 5:40 with Sam Levitt. Gwen and Chris will be on after us to talk about, obviously, the games of the weekend. But then on top of that, the games coming up against the Giants. But I want to get to, and let's start this with Walker Buehler. So Walker Buehler against the Giants has had a lot of success. He pitches tonight. He's 7-2 with a 2.79 ERA in 12 starts against the Gigantes. 71 innings pitched, and he's done a really good job against San Francisco. He's got 76 strikeouts to just 21 walks, which is good numbers to have. Now, most of this, if not all of this, is when he was with the Dodgers, and now he's a different pitcher. He's tonight's starting pitcher for the Padres. And again, I continue to tell people, if you weren't paying super close attention to spring training and, weren't listening to our talk shows each and every day and didn't get the full breakdown of Walker Buehler, this is a different Walker Buehler than you saw in a Dodgers uniform. And not to say he's worse, he's just different. He doesn't throw 97 anymore, 97, 98. He doesn't blow people away with his fastball. He really has to use his pitch mix. He has to throw in the off speed. He has to locate well. And he did that very well in spring training, enough to make this team. He's not on this team, Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler is not on this team because the Padres had nobody else. Walker Buehler's on this team because he made this team. They had other options that they could have gone with to start the year and start the year, to start the year with. And they went with Walker Buehler because he made the team and he had the starts that they were looking for when it comes to how he did in spring training. So he has done well against the Giants. Now, here's the National League West reality check for the Padres as they start their first NL West game tonight against the Giants. It starts with Walker Buehler and how he joins the Padres after years of the Dodgers dynasty, and he knows exactly what the Padres are chasing. Top of the mountain, the National League West. But that mountain's never been higher. I mean, you look at the Dodgers and the problem that they have, and the payroll gap is staggering. Their payroll's at $397 million, the Dodgers are. Padres are at $208 million. The Giants are at $204 million. And the Diamondbacks at $195 million. And it's not just spending, it's systemic, right? I mean, the Dodgers TV deal is $330 million a year. Giants have $90 million a year in a TV deal. Padres and Diamondbacks are even less than that because MLB controls the rights. Now, I think that is changing in the near future. But the division obviously is not balanced. You got one superpower and you got three teams fighting for a playoff spot. And then you have the Rockies. As it's fun to say, and there's the New York Jets, it's kind of equal for there. And then there's the Colorado Rockies, which we don't know what they're doing. But In an article in the San Diego Union Tribune written by Jeff Sanders, he talks about the path for the National League West and where everything is at with the National League West. And in this article, Manny Machado has a quote in there where he talks about every team can spend, owners just choose not to. And some of that is part of the conversation with the new CBA. We'll see how that goes. But the reality of that situation is not all revenue streams are equal. Not every owner operates like the Dodgers. The truth is somewhere in the middle. There are some teams that won't spend. There are also some teams that can't compete financially. The Padres' path to the playoffs, it's not the division. As we get ready for division games, it's not winning the division. The division title reality is the Dodgers have won every NL West since 2013, except for 2021 when the Giants got hot and won it. So the path is really the wild card. That's the realistic target for the Padres. And the National League West has produced a wild card team in 6 straight seasons. In 2023, it was the Diamondbacks. And in 2023, what did the Diamondbacks do, Frank? What did the Diamondbacks do in 2023?
Went to the World Series.
They went to the World Series. How many wins did they have that year? 84. So as we've talked about before with this, and we're going to reiterate this again before the Padres end up playing the Dodgers, but here's the reality of the situation. This is why this series is more important than the series against the Tigers. This is why this series is more important than the series coming up against the Red Sox, and quite frankly, even the series after that against the Pirates. The Padres don't need to beat the Dodgers. They need to beat everybody else. They need to stay in the wild card race, and they need to get hot in October. The middle-class ward to stay in the playoffs, that's against the Diamondbacks, and that's against the Giants. Projection models. We talked about that in the beginning part of our show. And I think those projection models are really undervaluing guys like Randy Vásquez. We talked about why I think the Padres are going to be above those potential projections. If you missed it, you can go back on YouTube to watch. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts and search the Braden Surprenant Show. But the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks, despite wherever you want to view them at, in terms of where you want to look at your season projections, right? Maybe it be Fangraphs, maybe Baseball Reference, whatever website has the projections for what they expect these teams to do. The Padres, Giants, and Diamondbacks are all 79 to 82 win range. That's a 3-team coin flip, if you will, to potentially make the playoffs or finish in second. And I think whoever finishes in second in this division is going to make the playoffs. I really do. I think this division is better than the National League Central. And we already know that the top 2 teams in the National League East, I think, are going to make the division too. So being number 2 in this division is going to get you into the playoffs. So you look at the 3 teams that are battling for this particular group. You got the Arizona Diamondbacks with Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. They're dangerous. They're fast, aggressive. They've been, sneaky, but proven. They've gone to the World Series more recently than the Giants and the Padres. Giants have Rafael Devers. They have Matt Chapman. They have Willie Adames. They got a new manager experiment. High variance team. And a team that I think has a lot of the similar storylines to the Padres this season. And then you have the Padres. You got that core group, right? Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, where talent on this team is not the issue. So the division, again, isn't Dodgers and Padres. The division is Padres, Giants, Padres, Diamondbacks, and that 3-team race competing for 1, maybe 2 playoff spots. But I tell you what, out of the musical chairs of the Padres, Giants, and Diamondbacks, one of those teams is definitely not going to make the playoffs. I think 2 make it, maybe. But there's no guarantee because I do think the National League East is going to get at least 2 teams into the postseason. So you have Walker Buehler on the mound tonight. Again, as mentioned before, unique perspective from Walker Buehler. Coming from the Dodgers dynasty, knowing that championship standard and his mindset of the Padres are a legit threat, but need to finish the job. And he matters because the rotation needs to be stabilized, if you will. You need to have a more stable rotation. I think it started to stabilize with Randy Vásquez. I think Walker Buehler is going to continue that, hopefully, before Amon Marquez. But I also think this cultural shift of this team for the Padres has been, over the last couple of years, shifting towards winning expectations. And A.J. Preller's mindset is the iron sharpens iron. That's why he brought in all these veterans. And what he also says is, with the Dodgers doing so well, he thinks it makes the Padres even better. It demands the Padres have higher standards for winning. The Padres are good enough to contend this season, but they're not built to outspend LA. They're not built to outplay the division. They're stuck in that middle tier, and these are the series that you have to win. The Padres are talented, they're competitive, they are flawed, and they're dependent on margins, but that's a team that's going to make a wild card playoff push. And you do that by starting tonight against the Giants in a team you're competing with for a playoff spot. These are the series that matter the most. I know we get excited for Padres Dodgers all the time here in San Diego, but the series that you should be super hyped up about, Padres Giants, Padres Diamondbacks. Those are the two, to me, that are the most important. And I think you can honestly throw in the Rockies, because you need to beat the Rockies more than the Giants and the Diamondbacks beat the Rockies. So you're kind of still in competition with the Giants and the Diamondbacks when the Padres play the Rockies, because you need to have better records against the Rockies than those two teams do. So the important series this year to watch for, to pay attention to, for the Padres to make the playoffs, which to me is step number one on the scale of ultimately winning a World Series, right? Step number one is making the playoffs. And making the playoffs is making a wild card spot. And in order to do that, you got to rack up wins against your biggest competition, which is the Giants and the Diamondbacks. And on top of that, you have to rack up wins against teams like the Colorado Rockies, teams like the Miami Marlins, teams like the St. Louis Cardinals, who are not expected to compete. That's where you really make your hay. And so that's why this series is very important for the Padres. You play the interleague games, it'd be nice to take 2 out of 3. Those on the hierarchy scale, those are not as important. The games you want to pay attention to, Padres Giants, Padres Diamondbacks, Padres Rockies are very important in terms of racking up wins. You want to pay attention to how the Giants do against the Diamondbacks and the Giants do against the Rockies. And then after that, it's winning series against the lower teams in the National League. I think you just got to compete with some of the teams at the top of the National League. And the American League, it's a good place to get some wins under your belt. But if you're going to lose series, which they're going to do, it'd be better to lose series to the American League more so than the National League. That's why losing 2 out of 3 to start the season against Detroit doesn't sting as bad, because it's not going to ultimately affect you when it comes to situations in the standings later on in the season. The path to the playoffs does involve going through the National League West, but the difference is it's not through the Dodgers. It's through the Giants, it's through the Diamondbacks, and it's through the Rockies. Those are the games that are the playoff games. Those are the games that are the play-in games to the postseason. Those are the games that you have to do the best in. And on top of that, you could look through, and this is why I say every year, based on this core group that the Padres have, they have the success. They have the team built to be a playoff team, regardless of what everybody else is doing, because you start breaking it down with some of the teams that they're facing, and you can start eliminating teams from contention. Rockies aren't going to be in contention this year. The Nationals aren't going to be in contention this year. And don't view the first weekend like it's, gold, because the Nationals taking 2 out of 3 from the Cubs doesn't mean anything. But they're not in contention this year. I don't think Miami is really in contention this year. You go to the National League Central, Pirates aren't going to compete this year. Maybe. They're going to be better, I think, but they're not going to be a team that you have to be really worried about. I look at the Cardinals. They're proving to you they're not trying with the offseason that they had. I mean, you start crossing off names off the list, and you can start from the top, like the Dodgers winning the division, the Cubs winning the division, or the Brewers, whatever it may be. The Phillies winning the division. It's 3 teams off the top. That's really competing with like 5 teams the rest of the year in the National League that you have to do better than. Got to be able to beat the Brewers, beat the Cubs, beat the Mets, maybe the Braves. That's it. Those are the games that are the most important. This game tonight is important. The 3 against the Giants will always be important no matter where they're at on the schedule. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we wrap up the show, when we come back, we will talk about this upcoming series, Padres and Giants. We will also look back and do a final recap of what stood out to us when it comes to the opening series for the San Diego Padres before we hand it off to Gwen and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 140 on the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We have still a lot to get to on the show. We didn't even talk about what happened over the weekend in college basketball. I guess we could briefly talk about that right now. That was a fun weekend of college basketball and a lot of good games out there. I mean, the Tennessee-Michigan game wasn't very good. But you know what? How about the Duke-UConn game was unbelievable. It was unbelievable how that game finished yesterday afternoon. UConn was down. What are they down? Like 20-something points in the first half?
They were down 19 at the half.
I think they were down as many as 20-something points. They were down 19 and a half at the half, like Frank said. And UConn started to come all the way back. And then UConn finally gets an opportunity late in the game. There's like 10 seconds left. And UConn's down, what were they down? 3? They're down 3. And the guy, and the UConn player gets fouled. He misses the first shot. And now you're in a jam, right? Because even if he makes the second shot, now you're down 2 with 10 seconds left. Duke's got the ball. You got to foul, and you got to hope they miss a shot. I mean, it came to a point. I was watching that game yesterday with my family. And my dad goes, after he missed that first shot, he's like, this game's over. I mean, you kind of need like a miracle. So UConn screws it up. They missed the first free throw. And then after that, the guy makes the second free throw. So now UConn's down 2 with 10 seconds left. Duke has a timeout, according to the scorebook. I don't know if they had a timeout or not. Duke has a timeout. UConn's got a timeout. There's 10 seconds left in the game. Duke doesn't even need to get the ball across the court yet. They basically have to like stand there with the ball and get fouled. And Duke inbounds it. They make a couple of passes. Seconds start to count all the way down. And then Duke coughs it up. They try to force a pass down court. It got tipped by 2 UConn players. Finds its way into UConn's hands. And then after a quick pass, a shot from the logo goes with 0.4 seconds left on the clock. And UConn hits a 3 to go up 1 with 0.4 seconds left. Truly amazing. Amazing shot for UConn. What a heck of a basketball game between UConn and Duke. And again, I look at Duke. Duke for like 3 of their games. What did they play? 3 games up at that point? That was the only time like Duke wasn't dramatically and drastically winning the free throw battle. I mean, that is a team that did not play well against Siena, did not play well against TCU, and then, they were in a battle with St. John's. All 3 of those games, they had more free throws in one game, in all 3 of those games, than all 3 of the teams they played against combined. That's how crazy it was. But UConn prevails. UConn punches their ticket to the Final Four. They'll be taking on Illinois as game 1 of the Final Four on Saturday. Arizona, the Wildcats, make it to the Final Four. Their 5th Final Four in school history. They got 1 national championship with Lute Olson back in the late 90s. They'll be taking on Michigan. I think Michigan and Arizona are the best 2 teams in the country. I thought they were the best 2 teams in the country to start the year. You could quickly tell how good they were. San Diego State played both of those schools. Aztecs played 2 of the Final Four schools in Arizona and Michigan. You could tell that they were going to go a long way. And here's the thing. Like Duke, Michigan, and Arizona had relatively the same resumes this year. But Duke got the benefit of the doubt for their losses compared to Arizona and Michigan. Arizona and Michigan were the best 2 teams in the country the entire year. The only difference was Duke did beat Michigan earlier, during the season. So at least you could give them the nod on that one. But I thought Arizona and Michigan played better the entire year. And they were the best 2 teams. It's a shame that those 2 teams are not meeting each other in the finals and they got to play each other in the Final Four. I think Illinois has put together a really good tournament run too. I mean, they've been kind of counted out a couple of times already in this tournament, and they rolled their way all the way through. I thought Iowa had a great run come to an end on Saturday when they fell to Illinois. I mean, a 9 seed making that far, they would have been the first 9 seed to ever make the Final Four, if not mistaken, or at least make it. They were still alive to be a national champion. That was part of the. I'm trying to remember on that graphic that they put out where they eliminate all 68 teams based on criteria. And then they go like, these are the only teams that could potentially win the national championship because these are the only seeds that no team has ever done X, Y, Z. A 9 seed, I think, has made the Final Four before. I want to say like FAU was a 9 seed when they made it. Maybe they weren't. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I do know that a 9 seed's never won a national championship. So Iowa, valuable, or should I say valiant effort. And in the NCAA tournament, we have gotten down to 4 really good teams. And it comes down to, executing late. I do remember I did take a picture of that. Thanks for Nate Taylor in the chat for reminding me of the picture I took of like the teams that could potentially win the national championship. Are you ready for that, Frank? You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Here are the what was it? 2, 4, 6, 7. Here are the 7 schools based on all that criteria that can win the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Duke, Arizona, Houston, Michigan, Purdue, UConn, Iowa State. Those were the, what is that? 1, 2, 3. Those were the 7 schools that could potentially win the national championship based on all the criteria of national champions. 3 of them made the Final Four. Again, this is information I need before the tournament starts, before I fill out my bracket. They always do this after the first game tips off, so you can't use. I gotta go back, like figure out that segment and start jotting this stuff down for the next year that I'll forget about. I mean, Duke was in the Elite 8, Arizona Elite 8, Purdue Elite 8, Michigan Elite 8, UConn. I mean, they got all the Elite 8 right. The only 2 teams that fell apart were Houston, which, by the way, Houston losing by 10 basically at home was incredible. Come on. What did we do in Houston? And then Iowa State ended up losing one of their better players in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So it's not overall that crazy that they didn't make it that far after the fact. But the good news is J.R. Blount gets to be here in San Diego now. University of San Diego's new head coach. His tournament came to the end against Tennessee in the Sweet 16. Let's get to the 3 other takeaways I wanted to get to for the weekend that was to the Padres. So now we can focus on the Padres and Giants after this point. We kind of teased it and we didn't get to it too much, but lineup strategy, bullpen decisions, and the Jason Adam decision. Let's talk about the lineup strategy for a second. Padres put their lineup out early today. It was out at 11:30. And to go back to the Padres lineup from today, Jake Cronenworth's batting leadoff again for the Padres. It sounds like the Padres are going to have Jake bat leadoff against right-handers, and they're going to have Fernando bat leadoff against left-handers. I don't mind that. Giants still waiting to put their lineup out. Couldn't be us. Right, Frank? Couldn't be us.
No,
We get the lineup out now at 11:30 on a Monday for a 6:40 game. Craig Stammen's just like, yep, submit it. We're ready to go. Jake Cronenworth's going to bat leadoff. Fernando's going to bat second. Manny's batting third. Jackson Merrill batting cleanup. And Xander Bogaerts batting fifth. That's the exact same as you saw against the right-hander on Saturday. Same with Sheets playing first base, batting sixth. Same with Ramon Laureano playing left field, batting seventh. Same with Castellanos and being the DH, right? And batting eighth. The only difference is Luis Campusano's catching today for the Padres instead of Freddie Fermin. But overall, it's pretty much the same kind of lineup that you saw earlier this week, or should I say on Saturday against the righty. They are going with the high pitch counts from Jake to start a game, his ability to get on base, setting the tone at the top against righties. And then they like Fernando leading off in the matchups against lefties. So a platoon-based lineup philosophy at the top. And so the question is it smart or is it overthinking? I think this is a smart strategy, Frank. I really do. I think it's a smart strategy to have Cronenworth bat leadoff against righties and to have Fernando bat leadoff against lefties. Because here's the other thing, too. You still get the protection of Cronenworth batting in front of Tatis if he bats ninth. It's the same thing.
Yeah. No,
It's
it is.
relatively the same
it's
thing.
Same thing, just a little bit different. It's same, but different, but still same.
It forces pitchers to work immediately, and
Yes.
it creates traffic for your best hitters. I like it.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. I do not mind it at all. So it's not that they weren't going to have Fernando hit first. It's that they weren't going to have him hit first every day, from what it sounds like.
And guess what? What did Jake Cronenworth do in his first at-bat on Saturday? He got out. And so guess who came up with nobody on base? Fernando. I mean, it's going to happen. Bullpen decision on Friday. We talked about this on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get the different strategies for it, but I don't. It sounded like what they decided to do on Friday's game, with Estrada and not bringing Mason Miller in for an extended outing. I thought originally it was like they set a time frame of what they wanted to do when it comes to the bullpen in terms of like not having Mason Miller come out and get multiple, outs and have to record a 4+ out save. And it seemed like a preset usage plan. And it sounds like in the post-game press conference, which you were at, that's exactly what the Padres admitted to, and they stuck with it. And they're trusting long-term bullpen management over, what Mike Schilt used to say is chasing a win in March.
And these are the kind of things that you expected, especially when you have a former bullpen pitcher as your manager now. These are the kind of things that you look at. These are the kind of things that he's paying attention to. And again, it's not like a Josh Hader situation. I said this on Saturday. It's not a Josh Hader situation where he refused to get more than 4 outs. It's the team looked at it and said, we're in game 2 of the season. If we're going to save some ammo, let's save it now.
Especially with the fact that the Padres know that going into the season that they got to get their rotation built up fast because they don't want to overuse their bullpen. This is an example of not overusing their bullpen, especially when you got Estrada out there and he hadn't played all year, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to go. Okay. He needs to be better in those spots, especially without Jason Adam. But I understand where the logic is on that. I mean, do you win that game with Mason Miller? Probably. Maybe. But long-term, you protect your most dominant arm, which you want to do. And so I don't mind the process versus the winning now kind of conversation. Now, Jason Adam with the gamble. Jason Adam left off the roster. Early off days, perfect time to carry him. Even if limited usage, I don't mind it.
I think Chris Ello is here.
We got Chris here.
Question for you.
Chris,
I have a pressing question.
Yes.
How are the Frogettes going to do tonight?
I don't think they're going to win.
Oh, come on, man. Have
South
some faith.
Carolina's got a 90% chance of winning
Have
the
some
game
faith.
tonight. I think they played each other earlier in this year, and it wasn't
Didn't
even
go
close.
so well.
It didn't go very well. But Olivia Miles is the X factor.
There does seem to be a gap between the top women's teams and that next rung.
I have something to explain to you. I'm sure you've already seen this. I had to talk about you in the 11 o'clock hour when the Padres put their lineup out at 11:30 this morning. I said, Did Chris Ello bitch to Tony enough where Tony went to Craig Stammen and said, you know what, man, I need you to do me a favor. I don't want to listen to Chris bitch about the lineup all year. Get that thing out. We
Craig
got the
Stammen
lineup at 11:30.
I'm excited. Craig Stammen and I obviously have an understanding. That's very good.
I love it.
Yeah, let's get it out there. Why wait around? Look, we were last in releasing our opening day starting pitcher. So, it's time we get, to the forefront of this stuff.
Were you excited when you saw the lineup before the show started today?
I didn't even.
You didn't even know?
No, I didn't know to look for it this
Breaking
early.
I thought it was fake.
I didn't know to look for it this
Padres
early.
put on 11:30. Chris Ello's coming up next. With
I
Grit
heard
and
that
Chris.
we did it. We had to put it out early to give the Giants a fighting chance tonight.
Wow, hot take from Chris. More hot takes on the way. Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Padres Giants today.
Gonna go! A grand slam for Lord.